Hello, Daybreakers. So it's been a while, but we're finally back, and we are going to continue playing Cinderella Phenomenon. This time we are going to play Rumpel's route. I know I keep saying this, but I really don't know what else to say. Like, I don't remember. Ironically, I don't remember what happens in his route for the most part, aside from, you know, us trying to help him find his memories. And that's about it. So we're kind of going into this blind, I guess. But either way, without further ado, let's begin. Continue from here, I think. I don't... Ah! We've unlocked Fritz's and Wats's routes! Finally. Alright. I don't know if this matters. I forgot. I know... Let me see. In the beginning... This part doesn't matter for... Rumpel, I think. Yeah, okay. This part doesn't matter for Rumpel. Alright. Go left. And skip. Hello, Karma. Our last love interest. I don't think the questions matter. I hope not. Since we're not doing his route, I'm choosing the options that aren't going to plus affection for any of them aside from the love interest we are on right now, which is this guy. And apparently we're supposed to throw Latreille at him. Can I throw Latreille at him? I'm tempted to let you. Heisty as well. Oh, be still my beating heart. Right. Huh? You. Oh, he's awake. Okay, thank God that's over. Okay, Rumpel. I suppose I can ask Rumpel. Enough girls seem to like him, so he might have sound advice. That's surprising. I find Rumpel in between his orders and pull him aside. He looks oddly relieved. Ah, Princess, you've saved me. Saved you? From a heinous overload of work! I am pretty sure Rumpel does less around here than me. At least I finish the work I am given. Unlike Rumpel, who gets distracted by every single thing. Dear Lucette, if you've caught me here, then you must want to confess something to me. What? Yeah, what? Perhaps you'll confess your undying love for me? I scowled at him and crossed my arms. I came to ask you for advice, but perhaps I'll go ask someone else. You came to ask my advice? Rumpel stares at me, clearly shocked. I guess it's because out of all the people I would ask, he probably seems the least likely. Then I will assist, my sweet princess. What kind of advice are you looking for? Perhaps you'd like to learn how to make a man swoon or how to stroke the embers of the heart? Is flirting the only thing that is ever on his mind? I came because I want you to teach me about goodness. He has 2 piercings on his left ear. That's cool. Goodness? But my sweet, all the advice I just suggested would teach you just that. I mean, being romantic would not teach me how to do good. There we go. Rumpel dramatically places his hand over his heart. But being romantic is good! Oh, that depends. Don't you see a smiles on a lovely lady's faces when I speak with them? I cannot imagine why they smile like that. Rumpel's persistence is annoying. To be romantic and loving, that is the epitome of goodness. Show someone affection, they will return it twofold. I can only stare at Rumpel as I wonder why I even decided to ask him. Or you could just be kind. Everyone is kind in their own way, princess. So what do you say? I mean, he's got a point. Perhaps you would like to practice on me? I'm sure your smile would brighten up my week. No, I'm certain of it. I have work. I quickly turn and leave before Rumpel can continue. If I have to be romantic to earn a good deed, I'd rather be cursed like this forever. I stare in horror at the floor. Gravel and sand are embedded between the floorboards. The wood beneath my feet is covered in a thick muck. No. Oh, right, I can skip this part. Going back to Rumpel again, I find Rumpel taking a break at one of the tables. Surprisingly, he is by himself and not surrounded by the usual blushing ladies. You're not surrounded by a flock of ladies? You must have done something to offend them. I like how that's the first thing she jumps to. Rumpel looks at me, the surprise apparent on its face. Princess, have you come to mend my broken heart? Excuse me? I do like its eye color, though, I will say that. It's a really pretty... That's purple, right? It's a really pretty purple. I was speaking with a lady here only hours ago when she told me that she was betrothed to someone else. That happened hours ago and you're still sitting here? Rumpel places his chin on the palm of his hand, looking very tired. In mourning, the heart is a fragile thing, princess. Won't it help heal my shattered heart? Rumpel stares at me when I do not answer. That would count as a good deed, you know. Helping you would count as a good deed. Doing things out of the kindness of your heart is a good what? Doing things out of the kindness of your heart is a good deed, princess. The kindness of my heart? Why would I want to help you when you've done nothing for me? Kindness isn't a thing that needs to necessarily be returned, princess. Single instances of affection can make a heart lighter. Why does he always go to the trouble of making his words sound so much fancier? I will not help you mend your broken heart because that will be an act of stupidity, not kindness. Rumpel's shoulders slump as he frowned. Ah, now my heart is even more fragmented. You suffer from a broken heart every day you are rejected. Of course, because to pour your heart out to someone only to be rejected is a cruel fate, princess. You probably deserved rejection, what with the way you flirt with everyone, so no, I am not going to help you. Deal with your own broken heart. I turn around and walk away. The acts Rumpel puts on are annoying. Amen. Look, we can choose wants or frets now, but we have to go through Rumpel's route first. Chapter 3, The Flatterer. I don't know why the first person that popped into my mind was Rumpel. Just because he puts a smile on ladies' faces of his flirting does not mean he can help me do a good deed. And yet, here I am. I find Rumpel on break, surrounded by a few giggling ladies. His hands make dramatic sweeping gestures as he showers them with compliments. And you, my sweet, are like sunshine peeking through the clouds on a dark day. You litter the ground with so much golden light and make every flower reach out towards your warmth. On second thought, maybe I should reconsider. Princess! Rumpel knows it's me, however, and immediately waves me over. Oh, turn and walk away. I just remembered that I have something to do. I turn around and start walking away, but I'm immediately stopped when I feel Rumpel's hand on my shoulder. I slap his hand away. Fierce as always. You remind me of a rose of thorns, princess. Oh my god. He leans closer and winks at me. I am so uncomfortable. But the thorns are what makes the rose so alluring. I am so uncomfortable right now. Are you always so persistent, or do you actually want me to slap you again? Your slapping is with a small blockade in the road. I would never give up on you, princess. Does he enjoy when I purposely try to ignore him? That's problematic. The most brilliantly sparkling gems are buried deep within the ground and take much effort to unearth. What? Princess, you're like one of those gems. No, I am not like a gem. Rumpel, why would you deal with someone like her? What? Lucid is like a budding flower, and I want to do my best to help her bloom in whatever way that I can. You've come to me for advice, right? How did he know? The look of shock on her face is adorable and so absolutely satisfying. It seems I hit the nail right on the head. Rumpel, she is obviously too stubborn to admit that she needs your help. These women are infuriating. A CG already? Rumpel leans a little closer to me and suddenly he is whispering in my ear. Blech. Let me tell you something, princess. Making a person happy just to see them smile is definitely a good deed. Huh? Making someone feel important is never a disservice. What do you think? I'm pretty knowledgeable, aren't I? All he ever talks about is doting on people, flirting with them, and making them smile. Rumpel continues talking. Which is why I will make an excellent partner. I take a step back. Rumpel is now looking at me with a triumphant smile. How did you... I am very perceptive, princess. You overheard my conversation with Parfait? She told me about it. She... did? Only briefly. So you're not perceptive at all? Princess, you cannot see it, but I'm drowning in my own tears. He just assumed I was going to be partners with him, which is very annoying. I do not even know why I was considering partnering up with Rumpel when he says the same things over and over again. And I do not think I could be around him day in and out. Oh my, what do I spot here? Delora appears before us, a sly smile on her face. Slacking off, you two? I'm on a break. That break ended about 5 minutes ago, Rumpel. And princess, I think there's a broom that needs attending. Fine. There is no use complaining, I would rather get away from Rumpel. Rumpel turns to the ladies and smiles. My lovely ladies, I will be back later, and I promise I will continue our conversation without any interruptions. Oh, and princess. We'll continue our conversation later as well. I walk off before Rumpel can try to shower more of his compliments onto me. Making a person happy just to see them smile. Can such a thing really be considered a good deed? The days at the tavern go by quickly over the next week. Princess? Princess? You've been staring off into space. I was just thinking. I just finished using Mr. Broom, and now I'm helping Annis sort some of the shelves in the back. Rumpel has taken up the serving for today. The women always enjoy him, but the men are always glaring at him. They're jealous of Rumpel, I think. Who? The other men? The Annis, okay? Annis looks over at the men that are glaring at Rumpel as he drifts between tables. I'm worried about Rumpel too. What are you talking about? You were looking at Rumpel with a funny expression on your face. No, I wasn't. My words are clipped and my voice is cold. Annis looks at me sadly, but I do not care. What I do is none of her business. I think the girls are jealous of you too. What? I glance around the tavern and notice that there are girls glaring at me. I'm not unaccustomed to Lee's glare since people have always looked at me this way. During the times I left the palace, people gave me the same looks, but this feels different, somehow. Why would they be jealous? Because you're Rumpel's partner. I am not his partner. You're not? He's been telling everyone that you are. I never agreed to being partners with him. I felt her longing gaze upon my back, and I have arrived, my princess. Rumpel suddenly appears before the two of us, smiling brightly. I suddenly had the strong urge to slap the smile right off his face. We are not partners. But princess, you asked for my advice that I gave to you because I care. No one else cares as much about you as I. What a thing to claim. And so I proclaimed us both partners because we are a match made in heaven. You're so overwhelmed with gratitude that you're at a loss for words. If I could throw something at you, I would. A punch packed with as much strength as her love. I can only groan in response. Oh my. Hello everyone, it sounds like you're having fun. How is this fun? Rumpel is never fun. All he ever does is spout nonsense. He doesn't mean any harm, princess. He's just filled to the brim with so many compliments, and he needs to get them off his chest. Well, he can go direct them at one of his many other adoring fans. I shift my gaze to Rumpel and furrow my eyebrows at him. Or do you only direct them at me because you enjoy how much I ignore you? I only want to help, Princess. That's what partners do, right? But we are not partners. Just try this partnership out, Princess. I promise it will be worth your while. Nothing venture, nothing gain, Princess. You can always change partners. Lady Parfait, you've broken my heart. You are very good at healing your broken heart by now, Rumpel. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. I only need to speak with Anis to make sure that she doesn't need any help with a particular list. A list? A list of herbs for me. Anis has been nice enough to gather herbs for me. Lady Parfait, is this about your body? What's wrong with your body? It's nothing to concern yourself with, Princess. My body is just a little frail because of the burden on it. That's right. Parfait mentioned having to bear the crystallum lucis. A thought occurs to me as I look at her more closely. Wait, couldn't you use magic to heal yourself? Parfait shakes her head and sighs. I don't have the ability to heal, none of us do, except for one particular witch who calls herself the Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor? Is something wrong? Rumpel shakes his head and gives her a wistful smile. That name just sounds familiar. It's like you heard about her from someone else before. Humans do know of her existence, after all. A witch? She's not a fairy? For some reason I had thought fairies would be more likely to heal people, not witches. She is indeed a witch, that is what they say. Though I have never met her myself. She is the only one who can heal illnesses with magic. She doesn't associate with other witches though, and keeps to herself. Nobody has known where to find her for a very long time. Suffice it to say, we could never seek out help from her, even if we wanted to. Parfait shakes her head. No, unfortunately not. Rumpel looks grim, but Parfait quickly dissipates the gloomy atmosphere with a clap of her hand. If Delora was here, she would say, "Alright, story time is over." That was all very interesting. Interesting, but it does not really help anyone. Your body is the way that it is because of the Great War, then. Like I told you before, the Great War has made my body a lot weaker. This is something that cannot be healed, and I don't have any air, so... Parfait looks about ready to say something, but goes silent. She has a sad look on her face, and I don't understand why. Anis immediately speaks up. I think I'll be okay, Lady Parfait. I was actually going to go on an errand run in a few minutes. Do you need any help? I would be more than happy to escort a lovely lady like yourself around town. Anis pulls a list out from her bag nearby and holds it out. There are only a few items on the list as far as I can see. Don't worry about Rumpel, it's not that much at all. Rumpel stares at the list. His expression suddenly smooths into something more serious. May I have that? Anis hands him the list and slowly he takes a pen out from his pocket. I stare as he looks over the list quietly and then scribbles some things down on the bottom. Afterwards, he hands it over to Anis. I've added some things that might be helpful. The herbs on that list are for joint pains, and you might want something a little more general. How does he know all that? Everyone is staring at Rumpel with wide eyes. Even Parfait looks impressed. You've used herbs before, Rumpel? Maybe. I don't remember. But for some reason, names came to the top of my head and I was looking at the list. Thank you. It is always my pleasure to help a lovely lady. Now, Anis, please let me accompany you to town. You know, nothing has ever been revealed, I guess, about Rumpel in the other rounds either, which is interesting. Considering Waltz's thing was revealed in Karma's route. I don't think anyone's thing was revealed in Rod's route, except for Mithro's. Yeah. I love to help with whatever I can, and more names might come to me. That sounds nice. Thank you, Rumpel. Rumpel turns to me, a mischievous smile on his face. Whenever he looks at me like that, I know he is going to suggest something ridiculous. Princess Lucette should accompany us for the experience. I do not need experience. How are you going to shower people with compliments if you know nothing about them? Being out in town will be good for you. Rumpel has a point. The more you expand your world, the more willing you are to learn more about people. I do not need to be lectured. Oh, Princess, it wasn't meant to be a lecture. I'm just letting you know that experience is invaluable. Come on, princess, let's escort the lovely Anis around town. What about her work? Rumpel puts a finger to my lips and grins. No one seems to have thought of that, so it will be our little secret. I slap his hand away, but he just grins at me jovially. How did I get dragged into this? Please, don't stay out too long. We won't. I make my way into town with Rumpel and Anis. The majority of the conversations we have are one-sided, with Rumpel giving us both the usual compliments. He never seems to tire of it. Rumpel helps Anis pick certain herbs and a few other medications, and accepts all of the compliments she gives him with a triumphant smile. I know Anis knows about herbs because she's helped me before, but how does Rumpel know so much about them? This must be a part of the past that he doesn't remember. Anis enters the store by herself at one point, leaving me alone with Rumpel. I'm a mysterious man, aren't I? I turn to look at him and notice the easy smile adorning his face. A man with amnesia is full of secrets after all. I bet you're even more curious about me. Women always love mysterious men. I do not particularly care. But princess, if my curse is my amnesia, then shouldn't you care somehow? As partners, we're going to help each other out, right? I now see how I can help you with your amnesia. Maybe this is a spell that is only broken by true love's kiss. Shall we see? He leans toward me with a playful smile on his face. I am accustomed to this behavior by now, so this does not faze me. I merely sigh at his nonsense. You already said yourself that you need to gather entries from some kind of journal. Princess, you're no fun. A little kiss wouldn't hurt anyone. I would die before I kiss you. Princess, that's so sad. He says that, but he's still smiling. Why is he so unfazed by everything I say to him? You only ever have terrible suggestions. It was a mistake to trust you. Trust you might have good advice. But I have great ideas. You haven't helped with my curse at all. I've been trying, though. You haven't even told me how to get a good deed. I told you before, princess, compliments make a person happy, and making a person happy is a good deed. So you flirting with women and using shallow compliments on them is a good deed? On the surface, the compliments may seem shallow, but if you swim a little deeper, complimenting people cannot be a good deed. But making them happy is. Point. All you had to do is listen to people, sympathize with them, maybe get to know them, and you can make them happy by doing even small things for them. Women enjoy the compliments, princess. Besides, how can I see such beauties and not compliment them? It would be a disservice. You give compliments to people you do not even care about. Princess. Rumpel's voice trails off and he stares past me. His smile falters for a few moments and a look of confusion ripples its features. I turn to follow his gaze and see a small boy staring at us. He is shyly hiding behind some kind of notebook. There is that seriousness again. It was the same thing that happened when he added something to a list for parfait. And suddenly the expression changes into Rumpel's usual bright smile. Hello there, would you like to come and speak with us, young sir? You don't remember me, sir? Oh, do I know you? I used to come to your clinic. You saved me before. The boy draws closer to us, still hiding shyly behind his notebook. Oh, I'm sorry, little sir. I'm afraid that my memories are a bit scrambled right now. I can't even remember my own name. Really? Where is Anis? Why is she taking so long? The last thing I want to hear is a conversation between Rumpel and some child. Is he going to shower this boy with compliments too? It's a shame that I can't remember a boy as bright as herself. And there it is. I'm not that bright, sir. Not as bright as you, but I want to be. He holds up his notebook, which has a small name scribbled in the corner. The words, "My dreams," are written on the front cover in cursive letters. What's this? I want to be just like you when I grow up, so I started a book of dreams just like my mom told me to. She said I could become a doctor too, so long as I tried my best. A doctor? You forgot that you were a doctor, sir? Rumpel? A doctor? I mean, doesn't it make sense? The boy continues to hold out the book, and finally Rumpel takes it and flips it open to the front page. Rumpel is holding the book close to his face, so I cannot see it. I rise to the tips of my toes and attempt to look over his shoulder. At first, Rumpel does not notice me as he stares at the page. Then belatedly he realizes I am there and lowers her book so that I can read it too. I lean so close to him our shoulders brush. My eyes scan over the page quickly. The handwriting is crude, barely readable actually, but I can still make out the gist of it. Rumpel slowly reads the words aloud. When I'm older, I want to be exactly like the kind doctor that saved me when I had no one else to go to. The boy's face flushes as Rumpel reads his words aloud before his curious gaze lands on me. I don't remember you. I look at the boy, irritated. Are you the doctor's wife? Rumpel suddenly looks up, eyes wide. He looks down the boy, then at me, his face suddenly solemn. I'm surprised by the words that leave his mouth next. Yes, she is. He takes my hand in his and looks down at me, an almost sad look on his face. What is wrong with him? Slap him! Let go of me! Rumpel's eyes crease with worry as he holds tightly to my hand. The sadness in his eyes becomes anxiety. I see something like fear dancing in his eyes. You really think it was my fault? The look in his eyes so vacant, almost like he is looking through me. It is as if he is in some kind of trance. The way he looks at me makes my skin crawl. Oof. His grip on my hand tightens, making me shudder. Rather than slap his hand away, I reach out my free hand and slap his face. I stare, perplexed at the sudden bafflement on Rumpel's face. Did the slap to the face knock him out of that strange trance? He has been even stranger than normal, and the intensity of the look in his eyes is scaring me. Ugh. Rumpel stares at me for a few moments, blinking slowly. Oh no, I blanked out. I'm sorry, princess. You did more than blank out. What just happened to him? The way he was speaking was so strange, almost like he was in some kind of trance. But I know how people are. They lie and they put on faces. I'm sorry for spacing out. If I invade your space, then I am sorry. You are apologizing? Rumpel puts a hand to his cheek where I slapped him. I think I deserve that. Thanks for getting me out of whatever that was. All at once, a sheepish smile breaks into something cheerful again. He's still smiling at me, even though I was so curt with him. Rumpel is so confusing. The boy looks bewildered. As he should. Don't worry about that, little sir. This one here is a feisty thing. I deserve whatever she just did. Oh my god. So she's not your wife, sir? Rumpel looks a little surprised, and then he laughs. Unfortunately, no. The beautiful lady here is not my wife. Oh my god, he's taking it so well. Rumpel absently rubs at the back of his neck as he looks up at the sky. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it seems like I recovered something very important today, or the beginnings of something important. Something important? Is he talking about a memory? He hands the book back to the boy, then he leans down and sets a hand on the boy's head. A bell chimes behind us as Annis comes out of the store, carrying a bag filled with what I assume are herbs and medicines. The boy once again cowers behind his book. Ah, who's this? The wonderful little sir that helped me regain a very important memory. An important memory? Rumpel stands, looking triumphant. I, my good lady, am a doctor. Oh, really? Truly. Rumpel turns back to the boy, who he asks a few more questions. He even asks the boy his name, but much to my surprise, the boy shakes his head. I'm sure you told me your name, but I don't remember it. It is like my curse. No one remembers me being a princess, and no one remembers Rumpel's true name. But they remember his person. That's interesting. It's very specific. They only don't remember his name. That's interesting. Rumpel thanks the boy again many times over, and even buys him a few pieces of candy. The boy's eyes are practically glowing with excitement, and he does not stop smiling. After we see him off and start to head back to the tavern, I begin to contemplate. I'm curious about something. Oh? You said that you needed to fill your journal with memories in order to get them back, but the journal you just read wasn't yours. It appears not. It seems that the 3 entries that trigger my memories just need to be written by people I know. Reading them triggers a memory, and then the full entry probably appears in my journal. I ought to check it when I get back. I see. But even without looking into the entry, a memory came to your mind? Rumpel gives a short, distracted nod. It's not complete, so I'm hoping that something really has appeared in my journal. It feels like it must, considering I remember something so important. Do you remember anything else at all? The young man that we just met. I believe that he used to come watch me work before. I knew him. He used to look up to me. He was a sweet child. The memory is foggy, but yes, I believe something did happen to him. He became ill. The details of how I saved him must be in the journal. Even though it's not pertaining to my curse, I'm curious what his journal might say. I can't remember fully, but the memory feels sad somehow. He turns to me, eyebrows knit together. It's strange to see him with such a serious expression on his face. I really am sorry about earlier, Princess. I think I was on the verge of a memory, but then it got tangled up in my head. I'm surprised by a sudden change in topic. I shake my head slowly. He is quiet for a few moments, before suddenly his smile comes back, and he laughs jovially, telling us that there is no point in worrying. At the town's outskirts, I turn, feeling eyes on my back. But no one is there. This is not a horror game. We give Parfait the medicines we purchased in town as soon as we arrive back at the Martian. Then, Rumpel proudly announces that he's a doctor to anyone that will listen to him. Everyone seems happy for him, save for the Martian patrons that find Rumpel annoying, or mostly men. Afterwards, Rumpel asks Annis if he might be able to take over the medications for Parfait, if only because Annis is busier than him. Rumpel hasn't been at the Martian long, and yet he's already found something to help break his curse. And then there is me. I do not think anyone will be able to help me. At the end of the night, when I finally have time to myself, I return to my room to rest. The next day, I'm sent right back to my chores. Rumpel was nowhere to be seen in the morning, and Annis says it is because he was tending to Parfait. He appears later in the afternoon, still full of smiles and silly flattery as he goes back to serving. How does he have so much energy? At the end of the day, I plop down on the settee to rest. My legs are weak from all the walking I've done today. I can still feel the tiredness in my arms from all the sleeping with Mr. Broom. Princess? I knew it was Annis standing beneath the doorway, smiling at me uncertainly. Thank you for your work today. Why is she thanking me for work I obviously do not want to do? It's not as if I've asked to do any of this. But you still help. Annis nervously shifts on her feet. So I just wanted to say thanks. When I did not make an effort to continue speaking with her, Annis gives a nervous little nod before heading back toward her room. Not long after her departure, I hear an exuberant and familiar voice. I should count my lucky stars, for they are giving me a rare opportunity to meet with my lovely princess this late at night. I should have gone to my room. Rumpel stops with her winking. The moonlight on your face makes your beautiful eyes sparkle like the most precious gold, Princess. I am not in the mood for your flattery. But Princess, flattery is just a compilation of compliments. Everyone loves compliments. I do not care for your compliments. Or Lady Annis's thanks either. You heard that? You should learn to let people spoil you. I stare at him. That's the last thing I'd ever expected anyone to say. My whole life I have been caught spoiled and rotten, the Ice Princess. Even Delore and Parfait want me to do these good deeds because they think I'm incapable of goodness. I clench my fists and continue to stare at him, not understanding the swell of emotion inside of me. Why is he being so nice to me? Your first lesson is learning how to let people spoil you. He draws back his hand, reaches into his pocket, and presents me with a small yellow bag. What's this? For you, my sweet princess. No. I cannot accept your gift. But Princess, my advice, you have no reason to spoil me. Princess, this is what I've been trying to explain to you all day. You don't need a reason to spoil someone. It doesn't always have to be about paying someone back. Rumpel smiles, a little sheepishly. Then he places the bag in my hand and curls my fingers around it. You deserve nice things, Princess. You barely know me, and yet you still say that? Barely know you? We may not have known each other personally, but that doesn't mean I don't know enough about you. I'm giving you this gift because I truly want you to have it. Besides, this is both a thank you and an apology gift. A thank you for accepting me as your partner, and an apology for my behavior yesterday. I don't remember what I did, but both you and the boy seemed frightened. I looked down the little bag. I opened it up, and inside is a little white chocolate piece fashioned into the shape of a flower. A lily. It's not much, but you absolutely must accept it, princess. Otherwise my guilt would drown me in dark shadows of sorrow for the rest of my time. For the rest of time. Lilies are my favorite flower. They say you give a white lily to someone you enjoy spending time with. Oh, and in floral language they also stand for purity and majesty. He winks at me. Perfect for you, princess. Why? Why what? I know this is Rumpel's time, but remember when Waltz gave Lucette lilies during his magic show in the very beginning? Yeah. Anyway, why would you give this to me? No matter what you say about doing nice things for people, I don't see how that applies to me. And why would you thank me for being your partner? I did not even want to be your partner at first. But you do now? Haha! Caught in the act? I don't know. Caught in the thought? I don't know. I am unable to withhold my surprise. Rumpel raises an eyebrow and sighs. Princess, you don't trust compliments, do you? Mother always told me that people were two-sided, that they'd say anything to make you believe they were your friend. No. Never fear, my sweet princess. I'll make sure I compliment you until you learn to accept them. Aww! That's actually a little sweet, but he's slowly starting to grow on me. No buts. I derive my happiness from making ladies like yourself happy. The compliments may seem strange to you, but don't worry. You'll see it in time. See what? The connections between people. You assume I'm just a flirt, but I get to know an awful lot about people. It's the reason I can guess so much about you. What could Rumpel possibly know about me? So, what do you think? Are you more attracted to me now because of my mysterious aura, or my doctorly sophistication? He leans closer to me, his eyes sparkling. I could be your own personal doctor. I will slap you if you touch me again. Rumpel pulls back and raises both of his hands in surrender, but a smile does not leave his face. You really are hopeless, aren't you? Do you think so? I thought that the events from today might have proven otherwise. Oh, speaking of which, I read over my journal earlier. His expression becomes oddly solemn. Shall I enlighten you? Why would you tell me all of this? Oh, you're not interested? I thought you might be, since I was your partner. If I don't listen, you'll still tell me regardless, so feel free to share. Rumpel sighs as he flips the journal open. Unfortunately, it was not much. The memory began coming together again as I was reading, but a lot of it still doesn't make sense. I glanced down the entry he has stopped at. Look at the bottom of the page, princess. I follow his gaze to the bottom of the page and pause, noticing a conspicuous gap. There's no signature, and I always sign the end of every entry I write. I wonder if that might be the final piece of the puzzle. The final piece of your curse? If my name refuses to show up in the book, it may very well be the final memory I need to regain. You believe that the signature will be what gives you your true name, then? I have a feeling that might be the case. It was the first thing I noticed when the entry appeared. I will explain why the boy in town didn't know my name either. And there's something else. Something else that is missing? The journal entry is cryptic at best, vague, almost like an incomplete puzzle piece. I stare at him, not understanding. Slowly, Rumpel begins to explain. It says here that the boy's family rushed him to my clinic. He had a terminal illness that I could not cure. He was at death's door and I couldn't save him. But he's still alive, isn't he? You even said you saved him. Yes. There is a resolution in the journal, but it's not very helpful. I glanced down the journal entry as Rumpel continued to speak. I refused to give up. I knew that there had to be a way to save the boy. I never gave up on my patients. In the journal entry, I described someone who came to help me save the boy. He lifts the book and points to the words, reading them aloud. I met her for the first time tonight. She told me she had some way to help the boy, so we struck a deal. I hope I do not come to regret this. He snaps the journal shut, startling me. He sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. That's it. Someone helped me somehow, and I made a deal. I'm assuming this is related to my curse, but I can't say how. Why did you write so vaguely? I wish I could ask my past self that same question. So in the end, you're still not sure when you were cursed? Rumpel pauses and shakes its head. I believe it started here. Not the curse, but the events that led to it. There's a reason this is the first memory to be triggered. It's important. Oh, so in this case, whoever helped him is a parallel to Rumpelstiltskin, like in the story itself, and he's like the main character from that story who receives help from someone else, but then in the end that someone else needed like some sort of compensation, and this is how he ended up here, I guess. For a few moments, the two of us are quiet. Rumpel's curse is a mystery, not because he is hiding it like Karma is, but because he does not understand it himself. After a few moments, Rumpel begins to laugh, breaking the silence. I look at him, startled. What's so funny? Oh, it's not funny, it's just... This is all very mysterious, isn't it? And my mysterious past makes you more alluring, doesn't it? And we're back. Only Rumpel could take such a serious moment and change it into this. What do you think, Princess? Are you drawn into the mystery of it? I have no choice. You tell me if I didn't want to know. Oh, but you do! I can see the curiosity in your lovely golden eyes. And I could see it earlier today, too. Thank you for accompanying me to town. I believe that I only met the boy because you were there to guide my way. We were looking for medical supplies. That boy appeared through mere coincidence. No, it was more than coincidence. It was destiny. Fine, whatever you say. Listening to him is exhausting. It makes me realize how tired I am. And all these revelations are making my head spin. I'm going to bed now. I'm too tired for this. It has indeed been a busy day. We'll continue this enlightening discussion some other time. Perhaps. I turn to walk away with the little chocolate in my hands. As I walk back toward the darkness of the hallway, Rumpel's soft voice echoes behind me. Sweet dreams, my princess. Chapter 4, A Compliment's Value. You waited, but the children didn't come, did they? They promised they'd be back today. We even crossed pinkies. Promises are futile, dearest heart. But I've told you before, and I'll tell you again. People are selfish creatures. They will always put their own well-being before others. No one does anything selflessly. To put your trust in someone is weakness, Lucette. Even those that make promises will only keep them if it benefits them. And you, my sweet, were obviously not beneficial to those children. So they didn't like playing with me? No. They did not. Come here, darling. You do not need those other children. The two of us can play together, as we always do. I can always trust you, Mother? Of course, my love. The gaslighting. My head feels foggy. Maybe it was because it took me forever to fall asleep yesterday. And then to make things worse, I ended up having that dream. Mother, you're the only one I can trust. Right? I slowly slide out of my bed and make my way over to my dresser. The little bag is still where I left it last night. I open it up and let the little white chocolate lily fall into my hand. You haven't eaten it? And you didn't put in the you didn't put like it somewhere cool or anything? Is he really trying to help me? I remember his face yesterday and his bright smile as he presented this to me. I slowly run my fingers across the delicate white petals. Just eat it! He couldn't have known lilies were my favorite flower. There is no reason to be sentimental about something like this. It's just silly. I'm about to put the flower back in the bag, but I stop, eyeing it once more. Slowly, I bring it to my lips and bite off a small petal. Oh, thank God. It is actually pretty good. I stuff the little flower back into the— Why? Who does it? Who bites off a little piece of a chocolate and just put the chocolate back into— Oh, what are you saving it for? I stuff the little flower back into the bag and make my way downstairs. The Martian is not busy this early in the morning, but everyone is starting on their chores. At least I assume as much when I see Annis and then Waltz, who is helping her stack things. Then I hear rising voices and realize that not all is calm. At least I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. Oh, great. You say you're not pretending to go around flirting with all of the female patrons day in and day out. You cannot seriously mean all of the drivel you spout. Karma and Rumpel stand on opposite sides of the table, staring each other down. A teacup filled with what looks to be cool tea sits close to Karma, abandoned. No, not a cool tea. Flirting with a lady is not a crime. One day your flirting is going to get you into even more trouble than it already has. I've never had a lady since I mistreated her, not once. You know, this interaction makes a lot more sense now we know Karma's story. Oh, I'm sure many could attest to being more than slightly annoyed. You're only jealous that I can speak to ladies without disguise, aren't you? Karma slams his hand down the table, shaking it. The tavern grows quiet. Waltz looks over, his eyebrows furrowed with worry. If you so much as make one more comment about my curse, then stop making comments about how I speak. The two continue to glare at each other. It almost looks as if Karma might circle a table and slap him, but the fight freezes as Jurian strides up to the two men. And slap them both, just kidding. It's too early for the two of you to already be at each other's throats. But he started it. All I did was make a comment. He was the one that picked a fight. There you go again, twisting words. Jurian stomps on the ground. The two men once again turn to look at her. It's my job to break up unnecessary fights, and I will do it. If you two must continue fighting, go do it somewhere else, like the forest, where you can't disturb anyone. Both men turn away from each other, obviously agitated. Rumpel's expression is cloudy as he makes his way over to the bar to begin helping set the tables. Jurian knows it's me watching. She waves at me with a terse smile on her face. Sorry you had to wake up to that, princess. I shrug as I make my way over to Mr. Broom. It's like waking up to two children arguing. Agreed wholeheartedly. Jurian sighs before looking at me thoughtfully. Maybe you could have a word with Rumpel later. I have no idea how their argument even started, but maybe you can get to the bottom of it. Does it really matter? I'm not a babysitter, see? But I'd heard the two of you were partners. Does that make me a babysitter, though? Anyway, hopefully this doesn't happen again. Good luck with your work today, princess. Jurian walks off, vigilant as always. I notice Garland looking at her from the bar, a slight frown on his face. I started working around the tavern, starting first with the cleaning and then with the stacking. Delora makes snide remarks about my slowness as I work, and I try my best to ignore her while occasionally throwing her insults back at her. It is as if she has nothing better to do. The door to the tavern opens, and Parfait steps inside with a bright smile. She looks more energetic than usual. I wonder if this is because of Rumpel's medicine suggestions. Later, I manage to catch Rumpel when the two of us are both on break. He looks pleased to see me until I mention Karma. Why were the two of you fighting earlier? What a sad day it is that the princess talks about another man to my face. Just answer me. I was getting ready for the events of the day, as always, speaking to the lovely women who filter in and out of this place. When the beast appeared behind me, even his insults are dramatic. Your flirting is distracting me, he proclaimed. Well, your flirting is annoying. But all I'm doing is complimenting women. I'm not impeding anyone's work. I thought that the only reason he was calling me out on such a thing was because he was actually jealous. You should have seen his scowl. And here we go. So I politely told him to mind his business, but he was relentless, and when he continued to insult my demeanor. Well, I had to say something back, but I wasn't the one to start the fight. I swear they both really do sound like children. No doubt Karma would be blaming Rumpel. Princess, you don't really think I'm so confrontational, do you? I think Karma is far more confrontational than Rumpel, but it does not help that Rumpel always snaps back at him. The two of you are both at fault. But Princess, in the end, you were still having a childish argument. I think that Rumpel might try to protest again, and I'm surprised when he shrugs his shoulders and sighs. Yes, it was childish, but that man is a child. I roll my eyes. Your irritated scowl chills my heart, Princess. I feel a tinge of excitement. I am leaving now. There is really no point in having this conversation. It is a problem between Karma and Rumpel. They aren't children. They can figure this out on their own, even though they're very childish with their arguments, but they aren't children. Oh, princess of my heart, why must you depart so early? I ignore Rumpel and leave him standing where he is and return to my shift a little early. Honestly, I would much rather focus on work than Rumpel. He can be just as tiring, if not more. Though, after what happened last night, I do not think he is as terrible as I thought. The days go on, and Rumpel and I speak only briefly during our breaks. Every day I eat at our piece of the lily until only one is remaining. Why do you do that? What? One afternoon, just before my break, Rumpel approaches me with a mischievous smile on his face. My lovely princess, how are you today? What do you want? Your cold shoulder is enticing. I have one more table to serve. Do not bother me. But princess, I decide I know exactly how to teach you to be good. All of your other lessons have been useless so far. Please, just trust me. To put my trust in someone is weakness. I'm going to teach you how to flirt. Why? What? The first step to flirting is eye contact, princess. Wait, but why are you... Rumpel points at my customer, a young man sitting right beside the window. Oh boy. The second is to smile. Smile, princess, because I'm sure you look even more stunning when you do. Then you start a conversation with him. Body language is important. There are certain signals that key men into the fact that a woman is interested in them. I think pulling over hair is one. A gentle tap on the shoulder is another. I should have expected Rumpel to spout this sort of nonsense. Princess? The customer's been waiting for a while now. Is something wrong? I notice a customer looking at me expectantly. He is just some man, a usual customer that I actually see often. Oh, and princess, don't forget the compliments. Make them as delicate and illustrative as you can. I move away from Rumpel before he can muddle my thoughts any further. Already my feet feel like lead. I find myself staring at the man for far too long. The way he stares back at me, his expression is so unreadable, so it makes me feel more uncomfortable. Do I really have to do what Rumpel says? I stop in front of the man and set down his tray, my eyes still on his. I do not have to follow Rumpel's advice, so for some reason my lips quirk. The smile on my lips, though, lasts all of a half second. Are you okay? Attempt to flirt. I mean, there's no, I mean, why not? Let's try, you know? It doesn't hurt to try. I can feel Rumpel smiling at my back. If this were anyone else but him, I would think it was some sort of prank. Let me save really quickly. But considering this is the way Rumpel acts all the time, maybe he's really trying to help me. I try to recall how he flirted with customers before. Oh, this is not going to be good. I could not help but notice you were alone, sir. I'm always alone. My heart is thumping far too loudly in my chest. What kind of things does Rumpel usually say? Madam, you're the most beautiful thief I have ever met, for it is you who has stolen my heart and stolen my gaze. Your eyes are more captivating than the stars, my sweet. If I could, I would stare into them forever and lose myself in their majesty. You remind me of a rose of thorns, but the thorns are what makes a rose so alluring. I'm surprised he's a doctor and not a writer. All he does is spout complimentary gibberish. I'll try to do the same. She's so innocent in some ways. How is it that you would always be alone when you have such lovely eyes? The customer stares at me, baffled. I force myself to continue. Your eyes remind me of the leaves in fall as they flutter beneath the bright gaze of the sun, and... I stop. The words, nothing more than a shallow line, make me feel strangely hollow. The man just stares at me, but he looks uncomfortable. Still, I do not think he is anywhere near as uncomfortable as I am. Ma'am? Perhaps you would. My voice trails off. I bite my lips so hard I can taste something metallic. The man's expression is a mixture of awe and perplexity. I immediately turn away from him and walk off. My whole face is hot and I can feel anger boiling deep down inside of me. Oh, princess! Leave me alone. But princess, we're not done. I do not care. I ignore everyone's gaze as I make my way as quickly as possible, as quickly as I possibly can up the stairs into my room. There, I collapse on my bed and lay there with my arms outstretched. I actually feel bad for her. Why would I have ever even thought of taking Rumpel's advice? I mean, it came from a good place. Hours go by, and eventually I realize that it's time to help Annis with the night chores. Now I'm helping her restock some of the bottles that Waltz and Karma brought back from town. I hope Annis does not mention what happened earlier today. I slip out of bed and head down to the main area of the tavern. The room is mostly quiet by the time I go downstairs. Parfait and Delora are talking to each other at a table. Karma passes me by as I walk downstairs. He looks exhausted and oddly frustrated. I make my way over to Annis, who is already putting bottles on the shelves. Oh, Princess, are you okay now? I'm fine. Now, what did you need me to do? Annis explains how restocking works. She shows me the labels on the shelves and explains that the empty spots are where the new bottles go. It's not a hard job and one I can easily do without thinking too hard. For a while, the only sounds that can be heard in the marsh are the bottles clinking against each other. Underneath that, it's a murmuring between Parfait and Delora. I have no idea what they are talking about, but they look serious, so it must be something important. So Princess, can I ask what life was like at the palace? Right. She cannot remember working in the palace before. I don't mean to pry, I was just trying to make conversation. I would rather not. Oh, okay. Eventually, Parfait and Delora stand from their seats and move to another room to continue their conversation. Annis breaks the silence again. The tavern is nice when it's quiet like this, isn't it? You can hear the sounds outside if you open a window. My hands move stiffly, placing bottles on shelves by label. All I want to do is get the work done, then return to my room. It was like this at the old place that I used to work. I was hired by a rich family to be their maid. Their mansion was a beautiful place. You could hear the crickets if you were by the windows on the bottom floor. It seems like her memory has been twisted by my curse, so she cannot remember working at the palace. All she remembers is working for a rich family. It was a nice place, Princess. There was a girl close to my age that had a radiant smile. Radiant smile. She must be talking about Emmeline. The head of the mansion is a really kind man, and... She grows suddenly quiet, a look of confusion coming to her face. She pauses and then shakes her head. I can't seem to remember everyone that was there, but I'm pretty sure they were all good people. At least, I'd like to think so. I was just a bad maid. Aw? She was. Because of her, Delora's dress was torn. I was too ashamed to tell one of the mistresses that I couldn't save her doll. Save her doll? Annis looks down, her smile wistful. I was fired on my first day because I couldn't save one of the mistress's dolls. Wait, she only worked there for 1 day and she already has that much to say about the owners? I was the one cleaning her shelves that day, and I went in and I saw a crow had come in through the open window and was pecking at one of the dolls. I shooed it away, but I was too late. The doll had a little rip in its dress, and I was fired for not doing my job properly. So it wasn't Annis who ripped Delora's dress, but a bird? Is this why Delora insisted Annis deserves an apology? What happened after you were fired? Lady Parfait found me on the street. I couldn't go back to my aunt's house, not after what happened. She never liked me anyway. Annis's face clouds briefly with sorrow, but the expression is short-lived. I can never forget the day I met Lady Parfait. I told her I would be able to help her and anyone else that got sick. That I can even do all the cooking since I've been making meals for my father since I was a young girl. Oh my god, even she has a sob story. I begged her to take me in and she did. I owe Lady Parfait a lot. Why didn't you go back to your father after you were fired? My father passed away a while ago. My mother died giving birth to me. My father was an herbalist and he taught me a lot while he was still with me. So before Rumpel came in, I helped Lady Parfait with herbal remedies. So you have no what? Lose that! That's what I thought, but now I have everyone here. The Martian is my family now. Family. Princess, we're all happy to have you here too. You really help out around the Martian. I can tell Rumpel's happy to have you as a partner. The memory of what happened today slowly seeps back into my mind. I cannot help the irritation bubbling up inside of me. I know he's a little overwhelming, but I'm pretty sure Rumpel is really trying to help you, just like he's helping Lady Parfait. It's not the same thing at all. The two of us continue working until Annis makes another wistful comment. The place I worked before this, it felt like there was warmth in that gigantic home, but it was stifled. That place isn't warm at all. I speak the words without even meaning to. Annis looks up at me curiously. The king suddenly started speaking to me when Mother died, but it was never enough. Before that, he was cold and distant, and even now, he favors his new wife and children over me. There were people, but they all wore fake smiles, and my father, he was the worst of all. I may as well have never existed to him. Princess, I'm sorry. For what? You're talking about the palace, right? The king always seemed so nice. He put his kingdom before his children. Annis fidgets nervously. I'm sorry. Apologies are not going to change the past. Sometimes apologizing seems like all we can do when we can't change something that's already happened. I think about Annis, who tried to save my doll, and the way I fired her that day. Rumpel told me once that all I had to do was listen to people to sympathize with them. Could that also be true for finding out the truth? All I can do to make up for what I did to her is... apologize! I'm sorry. Annis looks at me, clearly shocked. She stares for a few moments before I scowl at her. Staring is rude. Oh, I was just... Why are you apologizing to me, princess? It is for something I did that you wouldn't remember. That I wouldn't remember? You should tell me. I promise I won't hold it against you. It is not important. Annis's eyes are suddenly downcast, and no matter the attempt, her smile isn't as bright as it was when it once was. I quickly finished stacking the bottles on the shelves. Were we not supposed to apologize? I am done. Annis turns to look at me with an unusually tired expression on her face. Thank you for listening to me, princess, and for telling me a little bit about yourself, too. The bar is really low for her. I feel like I might have said too much. I do not respond to Annis, but instead choose to head out the front door. Annis asks where I'm going, but I just ignore her. I think about heading to town, but then reconsider. I decide to head to the forest instead. I make my way to the forest clearing. In the dark, everything feels a lot more comfortable. Here, I do not have to pretend to listen to anyone, and I do not have to talk about myself. I settle down a rock and stare up at the sky. I apologize, but Annis not even understand my apology. And even now, I still cannot bring myself to trust Lowe's at the Martian. I sigh and find myself speaking aloud. Maybe I am the Ice Princess. Ah, but have you seen the beautiful sculptures that can be made from ice, princess? That's a little smooth. That's a little smooth. I turn to see Rumpel walking toward me, a broad grin on his face. Ice always sparkles in the sun. It glistens and stands so proudly where it's been sculpted. Ice in the sun? That's not good for it. I stare at Rumpel blankly. He sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry, that one was particularly bad, wasn't it? He sits down beside me, his grin falters a bit. I have no white lilies to give you this time, my sweet princess, but I will offer anything else you will need for me to apologize for my advice earlier today. That's fine. Apparently she still has like a small piece of the chocolate left and she's keeping it for some reason. I don't know. I can offer anything. My words, my body. I cut Rumpel off as I'm not in the mood for his usual behavior. You're always like this. All you ever do is flirt. Any meaningful thing you try to say is lost in the flattery you constantly give to people. It is shallow. Aww. You're right. What? I stare at him. Rumpel was still smiling, but it is not the same confident grin he wore earlier. Somewhere deep in my memories, I remember someone telling me off just like this. Many people enjoy flattering princess, and a lot of people are receptive to flirting. But nothing can measure up to a genuine compliment. But I stand by what I said before, in that making a person happy is a good deed. Look, I'll show you. Rumpel shifts so that he was looking right at me, and I noticed that his smile was gone. Lucette, of all the women I've met, you are the most straightforward and honest. Many do not have the courage or the confidence to exhibit those qualities. And that's why I admire you, and why I will always take your words to heart, because I know you will always speak the truth. I look into Rumpel's eyes, which still have a gentle shimmer, despite the darkness. For a few moments his words float around in my head. He really does see the good in her, huh? No one has ever called my bluntness honesty before, and no one has ever complimented me for it. Rumpel told me before that I deserve to be spoiled. Maybe it's because he sees the things that I do in a more positive light. My, you're struck speechless by that, aren't you? You look cute with your cheeks so rosy, my sweet friend. Why does he undermine himself like this? I glare at him and Rumpel just laughs in response. I put a hand to my cheek, suddenly self-conscious. Rumpel smiles at me, but it's not the usual playful smile. Tell him off. Why did you have to be so dramatic when you gave me that compliment? I was dramatic. I cross my arms and Rumpel grins at me. I can't help it, princess. I am dramatic by nature. A compliment is, in some ways, a performance. So you did not mean what you said. No, I did. I swear I did. I was just trying to show you how making a person happy could be a good deed. Complimenting a person on periods is easier than complimenting them on their demeanor. You have to know a person for that. Well, I suppose that's true. I meant what I said, princess, and I swear that wasn't just me trying to weave spectacular words together. Earlier, I bet you made Annis happy too. You were spying on our conversation. I would never. I just happened to be making my way down the stairs very slowly. You don't even know what I was apologizing for. No, but you thought you had to after you listened to her, didn't you? I listened far more than you do. Princess, you've shattered my heart so many times, there are permanent cracks. But do not worry, the cracks in my heart allow even more of you to make your way into it. Rumpel awkwardly laughs and I remain silent. Anyway, there are different kinds of listening, princess. Listening to sympathize is one kind. Trying to put yourself in someone's shoes, trying to understand them, that is one of those ways. Then there is a kind of listening that is shallow. One pretends to listen without ever letting the words into their heart. Words are fickle things. Mother always told me that people lie and that they would say whatever benefited them. It is foolish to trust words. What if Annis had been lying to me? Why would I put so much blind faith in people? Because more often than not, people are good, princess. I let out an exasperated sigh. Sometimes I cannot tell if I am angry or confused by Rumpel. Ah, what a beautiful sound! It was as if the sweet wind itself was gently tickling my ear. Oh my god. I slide away from him and scowl. Your scowl is adorable too, and you have such delicate lips. Right. I'm still convinced that his earlier compliment was just a lie. How can he say something genuine, then slide right back into his pitiful flattery? For a moment, silence falls, and I find, to my surprise, that it is not awkward, being alone with Rumpel. Will you accept my apology for earlier? I promise I'll never try to get you to flirt with anyone ever again. Besides, if you flirt with another man and then grow fond of him, I would be devastated. That would never happen. You didn't let me finish. I was going to say that I would be devastated because that would mean that your heart belongs to someone else, and my heart belongs to no one. You go, Lucette. I will steal it, like a thief in the night. Why? That will also never happen. If not that, then I'll settle with making you smile at least once, because I'm sure you would shine as brightly as the sun if you smiled. You are unreasonably persistent. Love is a persistent endeavor, princess. A man in love stops at nothing to win over the woman that he so adores. Then you must be in love with many women. I stand up. I would appreciate you just complimenting me when you mean it. But princess, I mean every one of my compliments. I have no energy to chastise him right now, but at least I no longer have that anger inside from earlier. It's been a long day, and I'm going to bed. Would you like company? I didn't mean... Good night, Rumpel. Good night, Princess Lizette. I make my way back to the tavern, feeling surprisingly light. Still, even if Rumpel's words might make me happier than I care to admit, he is not doing a very good job of helping me with my curse. I might have to do this on my own after all. Chapter 5. The Doctor. Okay, what do we have here? What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. I cannot help but groan at Rumpel's optimism. Because we were both sent out to run errands. Because everyone thinks we make a wonderful couple. No, because we're partners. Partners, a couple, it may as well be the same thing. Half the time Rumpel says some deeper things, but then he says things like that. It is like he has two personalities. No, it is not the same thing at all. I take out the list and scour it for things we need to buy. More than half of it is already crossed out. I glance at the bags Rumpel was carrying. He refuses to let me carry any of them, insisting that I'll be impolite to force a load on me. That leaves me with list duty. This is a lot more laid back than what I have to do at the Martian. Okay, now we have the general medicine restock for Anis. My area of expertise! Never fear, my sweet princess, I will find everything we need. We already have a list. But Rumpel just hums enthusiastically as we continue on our way, and I'm not entirely sure if he heard me or not. We arrive at the low medicine shop in the central plaza. A man exits through the front door, coughing so loudly people turn their head to stare at him. I wait for the man to pass so I can open the door to the store, but then I notice that Rumpel hasn't budged beside me at all. His eyes do a quick scan of the man before he slowly begins to walk toward him. Sir, you are sick. Huh? What's it to you? Even if I was sick, lad, there's nothing I can do if I don't have any money. Besides, it's not like this will kill me. It's just a cough. How long have you had your cough, sir? It seems like it's such a minor thing, but Rumpel suddenly looks so serious about it. He looks at the man with his eyes slightly narrowed, as if trying to see past him. It's been with me for more than 3 days. Coughs are pesky things, aren't they? They're usually the last thing to go, but at least they're not deadly most of the time. Even if you can't buy the medicine, sir, there are other at-home remedies that might help with your cough. Boy, I've already tried warm tea. My wife's given me enough of that. Water is good for your throat too, sir. Any kind of steam works too. If the cough is riddled with mucus, it'll be easier to expel with steam. If you can't afford the medicine, sometimes simple things will help. Then coughs stay for a while, so don't fret if you can't get rid of yours immediately. Well, I appreciate the advice. Not exactly what a doctor would tell me, but it'll have to do. Oh, if only you knew. The man thanks Rumpel before walking away. Walking off, I notice Rumpel looking down at the ground, a rather forlorn expression on his face. Is what he said true? About what, princess? About doctors not giving advice about at-home remedies. Most of the doctors don't believe in such things. They always think that medicines work better than at-home or herbal remedies. The medicines do help, but sometimes they aren't necessary. Yet you just gave him advice. Not everyone can afford medicine. Being a doctor means helping people, not taking advantage of their sickness to steal their money. Money was never a problem at the palace. Whenever I was sick, the palace staff made sure I had the best and most effective medicines. Do you remember what you were like as a doctor? I wanted to help everyone that showed up at my doorstep. Sometimes I couldn't, and it frustrated me. I prescribed medicines when necessary, gave advice other times, and when things were dire, I performed small operations. He does seem a lot more serious when he is talking about health. Rumpel was silent for a few moments, before his eyes light up once again. Hey, Rilaria! I'm doing fine. As fine as I can be. Hope you're doing well as well. Rumpel was silent for a few moments before his eyes light up once again. Anyway, shall we go stock up on our medicine? I thought you said medicine wasn't always helpful. Because it's not, but I always know that Anis uses mostly herbs. Now she tries to handle things without too much medication. She's quite capable. We enter the shop and in no time at all, Rumpel spots the items on our list. We use up the rest of our money to buy the medicines and remedies that we need, and then we begin to head back to the tavern. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Allergies can be really annoying. I'm glad you're taking the day off at least, though. On the way there, Rumpel strikes up a conversation again. So, Princess, have you given any thought to what I said before? About what? You've already forgotten about making people happy. What? You know, you could make me happy right here and now by giving me a kiss on the cheek. What are you allergic to? Is it like a seasonal thing? No, thank you. And at last, my hopes are dashed again. No! I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you take plenty of rest and drink lots of water. Is someone watching me? Suddenly, I feel warmth in my hand, then fingers interlaced through mine. Rumpel pulls me a little closer, his expression oddly gentle. Ah, seasonal thing. Yeah, mine hasn't kicked in yet because of the weather here, I guess. But I don't look forward to it. I'm really sorry that you're going through it right now. Oh god. 5 bottles. At least you're staying hydrated. Oh. Milk is good too. Don't worry, my sweet princess, you're safe with me. Suddenly his face is a lot closer to mine, and I can see his features more closely. It is like the night in the forest, except his face is not marred by the same shadows. There is caution in his eyes, but it is not directed at me. Did you see someone following you? Oh gosh. Yeah, there's been a spike over here last week, so I guess it's hitting where you are later, but that sucks. Better stay together then. We begin walking again. The two of us begin to head back to the Martian. Rumpel has all the bags in one hand now. He hums a little bit as we walk. It is remarkably peaceful, so much so that I do not even mind him holding my hand. Suddenly it feels a lot safer. I'm so lost in reverie that I do not even notice when we turn and go in the opposite direction. Oh no, we're being kidnapped! This is not the way back to the Martian. On the contrary, it's just a more scenic path. Don't you like the forest, princess? The shafts of the light coming in through the canopies, the soft blades of grass that tickle your ankles, and all the mosquitoes. It is such a romantic place. No matter what he says, it's not lead back to the Martian. It's not a scenic path or path at all. Stop walking. Stop kidnapping us. I instantly root myself into place, and even though Rumpel is far taller than me and far stronger, he stops after noticing that I'm no longer walking. Oh, princess, did you want to stop and admire the scenery? Why are you taking me through here? I do not care about scenery, and I do not care about walking anywhere with you. Oof. Ah, princess, your honesty really is a treasure. One day I will make it so you enjoy going places with me, not just holding my hand. Man, he's taking it really well. I quickly slide my hand out of his, my face feeling somewhat hot. Ah, there's the sweet rosiness to your cheeks. You never answer my question. Yeah, of course. I will have fun, I think. Thank you so much for lurking. It's a detour. We're only going to be in here for a few minutes. If you thought you saw someone's eyes on you, it's better to divert their attention away from the Martian. Oh, that's true. And before you say it's dangerous, yes, it is. We're still not far enough away from town to worry about safety. And I believe I can protect you. Uh-huh. Won't you compliment my cleverness, sweet princess? He takes a step forward, bridging the short distance between us, and then suddenly his fingers are around my wrist again. Help! Kidnapper! But he does not lace his fingers through mine. Instead, he takes my hand in his and then pulls it up to his face. Before I realize it, my hand is on his cheek, his hand cupping my own. Why? Why are we doing this? Princess, you can trust me. Always, I mean. I can sense that sometimes you trust me, sometimes you don't. But you don't need to be so cautious around me. I shower you with compliments because I believe you deserve them. Oh, well, that's a sweet thing to say, but also... Huh? I told that I enjoy being around you because I do. I should be focusing on his words, but all I can look at are his eyes. I mean, they are very pretty. What do I need to do for you to fully trust me? Mother told me that people lie, so how can I trust that everything he says is the truth? Perhaps if I stopped throwing compliments at you, you would not be you without all the compliments. What am I saying? I was complaining about his compliments, but the thought of a Rumpel without compliments is strange. So you do enjoy my compliments, sweet princess? No, What? Words have deserted you? I understand. Being so close to me would have that effect on any woman. Blech. Something bright and angry flares up inside of me. Something that I don't understand. I pull my hand away from him, a scowl on my face. Words in my big mouth again, princess? Come on, let's go back to the Martian. I start walking ahead, and Rumpel rushes to catch up with me. I clench my fingers and let out a silent sigh. Rumpel was being nice to me again, but I always reject his kindness. Because it cannot be real. Aww, that's sad. Days go by. I consider Rumpel's advice, but I refuse to flirt with anyone again. But I had no idea how to make anyone happy. Rumpel told me that I cannot make anyone happy without knowing anything about them and listening to them like I did of Annis. But what reason do I have to listen to people? This is so frustrating. Let me save. Days later, Rumpel and I sit at a table waiting for our work orders. Rumpel is on the verge of conversation when we suddenly hear Parfait speaking in the doorway. Rumpel picks up on the words before I do and rushes over to the front door. He looked almost nervous. Who is at the front door? I excuse myself briefly, telling Annis I will be back. I make my way over to the front door, and there I see 3 people in conversation. There is Rumpel and Parfait, and a very pale man. The pale man looks like death itself, like he might just keel over. I can help him. Rumpel. He needs help. He can stay in my room instead. I can even restock the medicines on my own if I need be, so please, let me help him. There is a desperation in Rumpel's eyes that I have never seen before. He looks at Parfait pleadingly, all the while holding the man by the shoulder to steady him. What is happening? Oh, princess, this man heard about Rumpel through one of the men at the tavern. He's sick and doesn't have a lot of money to pay for treatment. He came here seeking Rumpel. He must have been able to find this place because he was cursed. Does he even have the money to pay? Rumpel turns to me with a frown on his face. I have never seen him look at me so sternly. Princess, you remember what I told you before. He was insistent that a doctor's #1 priority was to help their patient, regardless of their monetary situation. Take him to your room then, Rumpel. I will have Annis assist you, if she's willing. No, Annis does not need to worry herself. I think she'd want to help you. The two cut their discussion short when the man starts coughing, a terrible hacking cough that paralyzes him. Rumpel steadies him, and then he begins to slowly move him toward his room. Don't worry, princess. He'll be fine. What? I can see the worry on your face. Rumpel will be fine. Yes, this is the face of someone who's worried. Why'd I worry about Rumpel? Because it's not like you to worry about someone you don't know at all. You look so alarmed. I've never seen Rumpel look like that before. It's not like him. Rumpel knows what he's doing. I'll have someone else assist you with serving today, so no worries. Parfait comes through on her promise. When I go back to the bar, both Annis and Rumpel are gone. Karma, or Miss Karma, is there instead, looking disgruntled. Waltz will be better at this. Why do I have to help? Because Waltz is busy doing his puppet shows, and Rumpel is helping a sick man. Oh, well, I guess there's nothing to do about this then, other than enjoy it. He flips his hair and smiles brilliantly. I will attract all the customers today. Perhaps we should have a competition, princess. Compete with yourself. I'm really not in the mood for karma right now. Then I shall definitely compete with myself, because challenging yourself is important. They're all so positive. They're all so positive about it. It's so funny. Karma picks up waiting tables fairly easily. I notice that he speaks very fondly to the girls, but they are not as receptive as they are with Rumpel. Many times they ask Karma where Rumpel is, and he seems agitated when he tells them that Rumpel was busy. They seem just as irritated. Once my break starts, I meet Karma at the bar. He looks depressed. I guess if you and Rumpel competed to woo girls, he would win. Darling, if I were to shed my disguise right here and now, I would be the clear victor. Since without this disguise, women would flock to me. It's rather uncomfortable to have every woman in Angio fall in love with you. You look like you're judging me, princess. Because I am. If only you understood my plight. It sounds funny now, but we do see it in his story. And it is annoying. Karma and Rumpel may speak similarly, but they are still so different. Karma is the type to complain. Rumpel never complains. He is overworking himself for someone else, just like he went out of his way to apologize to me many times. My heart sinks a little bit as I think of him, and Anne's helping out the sick man. Rumpel did not even want Anne's going up there, so he probably wouldn't want me up there either. I could try to go visit him, or I could go back to my room. Let's go to Rumpel's room, follow the flow. I think I'll go check on him. Save. Check on Rumpel. I hadn't realized I was speaking aloud. I look at Karma, who furrows his eyebrows at me slightly. I honestly don't know how I can stand him as a partner. No one asked you, Karma! Yeah, why do you dislike Rumpel so much? A lot of things, princess, but that fight is between us and doesn't involve you. Then don't bring it up! See? Then do not involve me. You have no need to comment on us being partners. Karma looks at me, wide-eyed and a little shocked. And a sort of knowing comes into his eyes and he smiles, just a little bit. Yes, I think you should go visit him, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get him off your mind, would you? He laughs a little before picking up his tray and rushing off to continue his shift. But at least he's working. I slowly make my way upstairs, my feet feeling heavy. For some reason I feel like Karma was right. I make my way over to what I think is Rumpel's door. The door is slightly ajar and I hear hushed voices on the other side. Those voices definitely belong to Annis and Rumpel. I slowly push the door open and quietly step inside. Rumpel and Annis are standing over the man, who is covered in blankets and coughing. A series of bottles on the table close by. None of the herbal remedies are working. We need a medicine for this. I'm sorry I don't have any more money to offer, Rumpel. Annis, please don't sound so sad. You already tried helping as much as you possibly can. It's my fault for promising to buy a medicine that we need. I glance at the table where a list is sitting. Beautiful cursive handwriting details everything that the patient needs. Everything is circled except for some medicine at the very bottom that has a star next to it. Is that Rumpel's handwriting? Suddenly the two of them turn. They both look shocked to see me. Princess, what are you doing here? I came to see how you were doing. Princess, I'm fine, but... He glances down at the man on the bed, and sighs out a little bit. We've given him what we can, but the one medicine that we need is something we can't afford. Even with the money I'm getting from Lady Parfait, it isn't enough. I walk into the room and glance at a list. I look over at the total for the medicine, then at the coins on the table that I hadn't noticed before. Did Rumpel use all his money for this stranger? What will happen if you do not get this medicine? Without this, the infection will spread and he goes silent as the man starts coughing again. I can read the answer in his eyes, even if he won't say it. The man could be in terrible danger. He could even die. Rumpel looks defeated. He does not look like himself at all. I glance at the coins again, then at the list. Without a second thought, I grab both the list and the coins. Princess, what are you... I'll be back. I leave the room even with Annis and Rumpel protesting behind me. I make my way to my room where I pick up the bag of coins that the king gave me when I went to the palace on the day I was cursed. Then I head for the door. I immediately head for the medicine store that we always frequent. I count up the coins I need to buy the medicine. This will take all of my money, but it wasn't as if I was going to use it for something else. I rush back to the Martian with the medicine in a little bag, hoping that this is the one that Rumpel needs. It is dark by the time I get back to the Martian. I make my way to Rumpel's room again and notice that he is sitting on a stool beside the patient's bed, looking at him forlornly. When I enter the room, his eyes go wide. He seems even more surprised when I hand him the bag. Princess, is this? He opens a bag and lets a little veal roll onto his hand. File or veal? How did you buy this? I combined your total with the money I had left. Rumpel just stares at me, clearly flabbergasted, and his expression morphs into something softer, something more relieved. He steps forward and suddenly his arms are around me. He grips me tightly and then I hear his voice in my ear. Thank you so much, Princess Lucette. My heartbeat picks up slightly. He is so loud I think Rumpel might hear it, but when he pulls away he does not say anything. I have to thank you for this later, Princess, but for now you should leave. I don't want you to get sick. I'm too dazed to disagree. I nod my head quietly before moving stiffly toward the door. I glance back at Rumpel one last time, noticing that he is checking the man's temperature. The moment I leave the room, a flash of light emanates from my chest. I absently touch the glass slipper at my neck and then pause as I stare down at it. I feel a soft gasp leave my lips when I notice a fragment of a second slipper. Yay! I got my first good deed. I bought the medicine for Rumpel, but I only added in a few more coins to buy it. So what I did today was considered a good deed. I'm confused, but at the same time, I'm pleased I actually managed to get a good deed. Now I only need 2 more. The next day I go down to the tavern area to begin my work, but I am there a little early. Waltz is walking on his puppets at a table. Did I say walking on his puppets? Waltz is working on his puppets at a table, eyebrows furrowed in concentration. When I walk in, he looks up at me and smiles, then he raises his eyebrows. Princess, congratulations! You got your first good deed. I did. I knew you could do it. I nod in response. His praise makes me feel oddly proud. I continue my usual work, keeping an eye out for Rumpel as I work my shift, but he never appears. A few days goes by, and it is only after the man leaves, looking a lot healthier and stable than he was before, that I finally see Rumpel. He and the man speak at the front door to the tavern. No, really, sir, I couldn't take anything from you. Nonsense, you saved my life. I need to pay you back somehow. The man is holding money out to Rumpel, but Rumpel just shakes his head. I notice that there are dark circles under his eyes, and that he looks tired. I didn't help you for the money. But I insist. That money could be spent on better things, like your family. You may not take my money, but I promise I will pay you back. Your help is all the reward I need, I promise. I can't thank you enough. If only all doctors were like this. After the man leaves, I approach Rumpel. He turns to me and leans against the door, his smile still tired but bright. Ah, Princess. Come to heal my weary body, perhaps? I would so love another hug. My face becomes hot at the memory of Rumpel's hug from the other day. Ah, the natural rouge of her cheeks is so sweet, Princess. It makes me feel infinitely better. And her necklace seems different. I reach up to touch the pendant. Every time I get a good deed, a piece gets added to my necklace. Oh, right, you helped the medicine the other day. Of course that was a good deed, Princess. It was very selfless of you. Thank you again for that. The man tried to thank you too, but you refused his money. Why? And why did you spend your money on him? Because life is invaluable, Princess. No amount of money could ever be more important than a person's life. Even if it is someone you do not know. Yes, because everyone has a life, Princess. They have loved ones, families, sweethearts. And if I can help them, I will, and I will gladly spend any amount of money to do so. Okay, fine, but why did you not accept any money from that man? Because no amount of money. You needed that money. How are you going to buy more medicines without any money? Rumpel's eyes widened. He was clearly not expecting me to ask that question. But he said before he didn't have much money, and it was true. I can't take money from him when he doesn't have much of it to begin with. He was thanking you with money. You should have accepted it. Parfait pays you, does she not? Rumpel's shoulders sag when he sighs. Yes, even though I won't accept the money from her face to face, she has to sneak it into my wallet. If she does that, why not just accept it from her? I'm trying to make a statement, Princess. And Parfait does not seem to care because she sneaks some money into your wallet regardless. Ah, you have a point there. You're stubborn. We both are. Now I have a question. Why did you use your money on that man? You knew nothing about him. Did you do it for him? For yourself? Or for me, perhaps? Rumpel grins at me mischievously. Even with the tired eyes, I can still see the bright cheer in them. Hit the nail right on the head, again. You're becoming easier to read, my sweet princess. Yuck. Well, no matter why you did, thank you. That medicine was necessary to help that man. I still think you should have accepted money from him. You helped him and did him a service no one else would. You should have accepted his gratitude. Princess, I told you. I cross my arms and frown at him. You're so stubborn. Rumpel's smile falters, and he just looks at me sadly, almost guiltily. For some reason, the sight of him in such a state makes my heart sink. Wipe off that frown. You look better with a smile. Rumpel stares at me, shocked. Why is he staring at me like that? You like my smile? What? I did not say You like my smile! And to compliment it too! Princess, you have no idea how much this means to me! Rumpel throws his hands in the air. I resist the urge to roll my eyes at the exaggerated reaction. You get compliments all the time from women. Yes, but none as honest as yours. That compliment is valuable because I know you absolutely meant it. So I will keep those words close to my heart because they are precious to me. It wasn't anything like the spectacular compliments he gives, yet he still looks so happy. You two seem to be getting along. Parfait appears behind us with a smile on her face. Sorry to interrupt, but Lucette, Karma is slowly drowning in table work. Would you help him? Yes, of course. Rumpel looks disappointed as I am sent back to the bar, where Karma expresses immediate relief that I am back. Rumpel retires to his room early that day, and he is given the day off. Both Delora and Parfait can see the tiredness on his face, just like I can. He does not reappear for the rest of the day. At the end of my shift, I retire to my room. When I get downstairs the next morning, I am met with a familiar sight. Both Karma and Rumpel stand on opposite sides of a table, their voices rising in argument. They are fighting again. I happen to catch their words as I walk quietly down the stairs. Who are you to criticize my work ethic when you were gone for several days, leaving me with your workload? It wasn't like I wanted to, and who are you to criticize how I work? All of the ladies I spoke to said that you shower them with compliments. What kind of professional behavior is that? I'm having a hard time believing you're a professional the way that you flaunt yourself. At least I don't flirt with people to attract their attention. And you flirt with them and don't even realize the effect it has on other people. Flattery is not a crime. Just yesterday the princess came to see you in your room, all because you gave her the impression that you liked her. Were you actually spying on her, and you call me uncouth? No, I overheard her say it. And you're wrong, I never say anything if it isn't truthful. Ah well, then the truth of the matter is that you must be in love with many women. Because they all seem to think that you'll get down on one knee and propose to them. You say some sly things, Miss Karma, and yet you're the biggest liar of us all. At least I don't lie to my partner. Defend Rumpel. Save. Sorry, Karma. Rumpel tells me that I never lies. He tells me that he wants me to trust him. But I still find it hard to believe I do want to trust him. I walk down the rest of the stairs and stop at Rumpel's side. Both men look equally surprised to see me there. Rumpel has never lied to me yet. Yet! Karma looks up and stares at me for a few moments, looking startled by my sudden appearance. Then he sighs. Princess, a man that flatters everyone doesn't flatter anyone. At least he's not so conceited he flatters himself constantly. No, poor Karma. Such a sharp tongue you have, Princess. And you are very quick to jump to assumptions. You two are at it again? Jurian stops at the table and frowns at them. Both men glance away from her cold gaze. Karma murmurs something before excusing himself. Rumpel looks down the table, his eyebrows knit together with frustration. What's wrong, you two? Why can't you just be civil with each other? Jurian, you're never here to see how these fights start. Karma is every bit a beast, attacking me for no good reason at all, but with your keen eye you should be able to discern that, right? Flattery won't work on me, Rumpel, and second, I doubt these fights start without any bit of prompting from you. I swear I don't start anything. Karma is just always irritable. He's like a woman during that one time with— Oh my god, that's such a bad thing to say! Rumpel! Like, you were growing on me until that. Shirin walks away stiffly, leaving me with Rumpel. I look at him, a little irritated by his earlier comment. He gives me a sheepish smile. Apologize. Thank you. No, don't. Thank you, Princess. For what? For defending me. I swear I meant what I said. I would never lie to you. I mean every one of my compliments, every one of my thank yous. You must know that since you came to defend me. Rumpel, sometimes you continue talking when nothing needs to be said. But I'm just expressing a sense of my gratitude. Are we not going to talk about how we... whatever. It is not necessary. It was such a small thing, too. Princess, can you give me some help with the inventory? I'm coming. As I turn away, Rumpel waves. I'll see you later, Princess. Who knows, you might get your second good deed. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. It feels like it will be a while yet before I can achieve my next good deed. Chapter 6, Strings of Fate. What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. She's so done. It sounds like I'm getting easier to read too. No, you've just said enough times and I memorized it. You mean it has never rained when you guys go out? That means you must pay attention to my words. That in itself is a compliment, Princess. It is not. We're on our way to the usual store to restart our medications when a small figure leaves out through the front door. She stares at us with a lost look on her face. She looks kind of like Karma. Rumpel reacts immediately, making his way over to making his way over to her with a broad smile. Madam, I can't help but notice the pain expression upon your beautiful face. Is there anything I can do to assuage your worries? For seeing your lovely face shadowed by such sadness stabs me right in the heart. The woman stares at Rumpel, dumbfounded. His smile wavers, and he takes a step back, suddenly looking alarmed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's you, huh? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, this is awkward, madam, but I'm afraid I don't know you. What? Or do I? Do I know you? I take a step forward and look at the woman flatly. He has been cursed. He has amnesia. Amnesia? The woman stares at Rumpel, scrutinizing him. You do seem different. Changed from before, in any case. So you knew me before? How terrible it is of me to forget such a lovely face. Perhaps you could help me remember. The usual flurry suggestion is in his voice, but the woman seems unaffected. I can help you remember. You can? It's no wonder I can't remember your name. You have the fairy tale curse, don't you? Who is this woman? You truly don't remember me? I'm sorry. The woman looks conflicted by the expression that's gone, but the expression is gone as fast as it appears. I'm Bria. Your fiancé. What? The shock is apparent on my face. Actually, I remember this part, but either way, but nowhere near as impressive as the astonishment on Rumpel's face. My fiancé? She has to be lying. How can Rumpel possibly have a fiancé with the way that he is? He is barely able to dedicate himself to a single woman for an hour. Bria takes a step forward and takes Rumpel's hands in her own. You don't remember holding my hands like this when you took me to the forest and proposed to me? No, the forest! Rumpel opens its mouth, but no words escape. He reminds me of a lost dog all of a sudden, with his eyes so wide. Bria runs her fingers over his hands. I loved you, you loved me, and I still love you very much. I don't remember this. How can I hope to remember? Rumpel's voice is faint, but still he tries to smile. The circumstances of the curse tell me that I need to remember through memories and, a journal somehow. A journal? I have your old journals. I can show you the very first love letter you wrote me. Bria starts walking, her hands still clasped in Rumpel's. I stare after them for a few moments, trying to piece together what is happening in my head. I chase after them. Who's that? Bria enters a house, one that Rumpel stares at in awe. When she comes back out, she is holding a journal. She hands it to Rumpel and opens up to the first page. This is A little embarrassing, but there it is. You compiled your letters into a journal. Rumpel slowly reads over the words, and I notice a strange, glazed look coming back into his eyes as his expression grows more somber. This is like last time, when he remembered that he was a doctor. Bria turns to me as Rumpel is reading, and her eyebrows arch. And who are you? His partner. Partner? We are helping each other with our curses. Oh, you're cursed too? You poor thing. Oh my god, that's such a weird expression. Bria's voice is flat. She is glaring at me beneath her smile. I have done nothing to merit this distrust from her. And I cannot bring myself to trust her either. Bria. Rumpel looks up from the journal and stares at her. Yes, sweet? Ugh! Rumpel's melancholy expression throws me off. Last time he was so excited when he realized he was a doctor, but now his expression is heartbreaking. I remember, I did propose to you. In the forest, when it was dark, You set little lights around the clearing, we spoke for a while, and then when you got down on your knee, you dropped the ring. It had fallen the roots of some tree. You only noticed it when a bird came down and plucked it out of the bramble. I had no idea what you were looking for, but I still chased after the bird. And you got the ring back, and you knew. Bria holds out her hand, and I notice a beautiful red-green gem ring on her ring finger. It was still charming though. I laughed for so long because it felt so memorable. Plucking your engagement ring out of a bird's beak. Yeah, you're right. Rumpel smiles a little uncertainly. In that moment I feel him turn away from me. He does not even realize I am there, standing with Bria. Why am I feeling so uncomfortable? You should be. This is weird. You said you were helping Rumpel with his curse, yes? She turns to me. There is no worry. I can help him now. That is what couples do. I have to force the petty out of my heart. I have to force myself to think rationally. Something still seems off about this. But Rumpel remembers. Which means this is the truth, isn't it? I am still his partner. I still feel something is wrong. I do not trust this woman. Do you know anything about him, dear? Have you helped him regain any of his memories? She was with me when I regained my memories. Lisette is a very valuable good luck charm. That's what we are, a good luck charm. Rumpel flashes a small smile at me before turning to Bria. Her eyes seem a lot colder now. Ha, tell me. What do you go by now? Until we figure out your name, I need something to call you. Rumpel. Bria's cold gaze falls on me. I can sense something in them that surprises me. Jealousy? Why would she be jealous of me? Rumpel, would you maybe want to come back home with me? What? I know you must be overwhelmed, but our home might be able to help you remember some things. I'm sorry, I actually have a patient somewhere else I need to tend to. Bria's eyes flash briefly. Her frown is there for a few seconds before she smiles again. You always were good to your patients. I'm sorry. It's okay. I understand that you're overwhelmed. But remember, now I'm here for you too. I want to mend things, to make them go back to what they were before. Sounds like a red flag. How about you look over that journal and then we meet again tomorrow? We can take this one step at a time. I would like that. We can get to know each other again, and in time, I'm sure you'll remember what we used to have. I loved you. And I did too. I still do. A slight shiver runs down my spine as I stare at the two of them. There is that uncomfortable feeling once again. Bria and Rumpel agree on a spot to meet tomorrow, and then she leans up to kiss Rumpel on the cheek. Ah! He puts a hand on his cheek as she walks off with a gentle smile on her face. Ew, icky. Are you okay? He looks at me, and for a few moments, I feel that his gaze lingers longer than it normally does on my own eyes. Then he smiles and laughs. Of course I am, Princess. I just remember something about my own past. I'm guessing that a second entry has appeared in my journal by now. I can't wait to get back to the Martian to read it. Bria has the rest of my journal, so I might truly be able to remember everything if I talk to her. Including your love for her? He sighs out before he proclaims that we should finish our errands. I follow him around the town, though the scenery lacks its usual vibrancy. Rumpel doesn't speak to anyone, not even the girls while we walk. He keeps his eyes focused on the ground, and when he speaks to the shop owners, his cheer is lukewarm at best. I try to start a conversation with him many times, but he shies away from talking. I feel like there is something he is not telling me. When we arrive at the Martian, Rumpel quickly excuses himself, not even sharing his epiphany about his past with anyone. What has him so bent out of shape? He just regained another memory. I'm assuming he is going to go read about it now. It's not like him to hide things. I hope Rumpel is okay. It's been about a week since Rumpel gained his last memory. He has been meeting with Bria since then. But he still hasn't told me about the memory from the journal. He does not flirt with any girls, and when he sees me, his smile looks broken. He spends his days visiting Bria and tending to parfait. Aww. You're worried about Rumpel, aren't you? Why would I be worried about him? Because Rumpel is no longer able to run errands with me, Watts decides to take his place. But Watts' presence cannot make up for Rumpel's absence. He'll be fine, Princess. He's still figuring things out. I do not trust that woman. His fiancée? She appeared out of nowhere. People who aren't cursed can't find the tavern, Princess. She would never have been able to find him. So really the only place she could have met him was out here in nowhere. I can tell that he is teasing me, but it does little to lift my spirits. I know. What size? If you don't trust her, why not just ask around for her? She obviously does not want to talk to me. No, I mean ask others about her. So long as you find a way to phrase your intentions honestly, I think they might understand you. Rumpel says my honesty is good, but I also know that the way I speak frustrates many people. She's gaining self-awareness. Come on, I'll help. Watts approaches a flower shop where several people are gathered to look at the fresh flowers. Which reminds me, I hope she's eaten the last piece of the frickin' chocolate because... Come on. Excuse me, madam, sir. I was wondering if you knew anything about someone named Bria. We hear she is engaged to a friend of ours, but he hasn't said much about her. Everyone calls me blunt, but I would never question others so openly. Does Waltz really expect the people to be so open to him? Oh, but isn't Waltz doing a little investigative work, are you? Just looking to find out more about someone important to a friend. Not going to put this into one of your shows, are you? Waltz raises an eyebrow and laughs. Of course not. Everyone trusts Waltz. I suppose he must speak to people often, being a performer. You'll probably never suspect Waltz to do anything morally questionable. And yet, with me, they're suspicious of everything that I did. I guess it is a good thing Waltz is here. I stay full of sighs as the so-called investigation begins. But Bria, I was under the impression that her fiancé wasn't seeing her anymore. Bria, oh poor Bria. I hear that the poor dear made a mistake and that her fiancé threw her out for it. Is she engaged to someone new now? I'm not surprised given the affair that she had on her first fiancé. Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't have said anything. You said she cheated on her first fiancé? She was engaged to some man, a doctor, I believe. He was a good man, always smiled, helped everyone, including the poor. I don't see how she would have the gall to do it, but the rumors state that she was seeing another man. I think I saw him out together sometimes. He was a rich businessman. Who was he? I believe he was one of the doctor's patients. Oh my god! Did anyone see this for sure, ma'am? Oh, lots of people did. Oh my god, are you kidding me? And that's why the poor man stopped seeing her, bless his heart. He looked heartbroken. As he should. But then the two of them were engaged, so she should have been more committed to him. When Bria first approached Rumpel, she had no idea he had amnesia. She started apologizing to him. Was it for that affair, or am I just speculating? Kind of hard to imagine what else she'd have to apologize to him for, but... I mean, even if she did have everything to apologize for, this would be included, right? We thanked the woman for her help before continuing to ask around town for more information. The more we hear, the more certain we became. She cheated on him. Princess, I know what you're thinking, but it would be incredibly rash to tell Rumpel about this. But she is lying to him. I can still remember the sadness in his eyes. Maybe somewhere deep down he still knows. Did his journal entry not say anything? You can try talking to him, Princess, but without any evidence, we're just going off of rumors. If you were wrong, I think that would hurt the situation a lot more. I am first to acknowledge Watts' reasoning. As much as I want to tell Rumpel right now, I do not even know where he is. We finish our errands for the day, and then return to the Martian, where I complete my tours around the tavern before retiring to bed. Okay, so maybe he asked someone to wipe his memories because of that. Maybe. Later that night, after turning for hours in bed without any success of sleep, I make my way downstairs for a glass of milk. I stop abruptly at the sound of hushed voices. Parfait and Rumpel are sitting together at a table, their voices soft. It means a lot to me that you're still taking care of me, even with everything that you have on your plate. When things are uncertain as they are right now, the little things that remain the same are actually comforting. What? No compliments tonight? He clears his throat. Lady Parfait, I always find comfort in your presence. Your heart's not in it, is it? Please don't stress yourself out trying to take care of me. I've seen orders of the medicines and the dosages. I can take care of myself, Rumpel. I owe you and Lady Delora for letting me stay here. Even now, you could have kicked me out, yet I'm still here. This isn't the confident Rumpel I'm used to seeing. It's rather heartbreaking to see you like this, you know? Parfait's eyes drift past Rumpel when she sees me before I can dart away. I think you're worrying your partner, too. Rumpel turns in his seat and stares at me. Princess? I slowly make my way toward them. I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't been trying to help you at all. It's fine. Parfait's right, though. It's not like you to be so pitiful. Ah, your words are still sharp as ever. I glance at Parfait curiously. The light of the tavern lights her face up dimly, making it look more ghostly than usual. She looks sicklier. Do you think I look like a ghost, Princess? Yes. By the time night comes around, I'm utterly exhausted. You said you were like this because of the tender Baron Lucis you have to take care of? That's correct. I used to be able to watch over it more easily, but now the balance between both crystals lost in the kingdom is getting harder. This responsibility is a big burden. It is a heavy toll on my body. But that doesn't diminish any of my pride. I'm proud to bear his responsibility. Someone needs to do it, and I'm very glad I can help so many people through bearing this burden. What would happen if you just let the responsibility go? There would be even more chaos than there is now. And what of the Tenebraean bearer? Will they not help you with your stress? There is no Tenebraean bearer currently. What? Parfait stares at me for a few moments, a complicated expression on her face, and suddenly she sighs. Please don't worry about me, Princess. I've lived a good life. I just want to do more good while I still live. And I'm very lucky to be surrounded by so many good people. Anyway, the two of you should be off to bed soon. I can tell you're both tired. Parfait pauses to look at me, eyebrows slightly arched. Oh, but before you go, there is something I meant to ask you. Ask me? Parfait crosses her arms and looks at me tersely for a few moments. The look is so unlike her that it almost concerns me. She looks uncertain of something, but I cannot imagine what it is. What could she want to discuss with me? I want to ask if you are free the day after tomorrow. I am free whenever my schedule says I am. Then if you could spare 20 or so minutes, I want to speak with you about something. Very important. Important? I suppose we could say it is related to your curse. Fine. Parfait smiles at us before walking back to her room, leaving me alone with Rumpel. Rumpel smiles at me uncertainly. For a few moments, I think he might actually talk to me, but then he rushes off after giving me an apology. I watch him walk up the stairs, my heart sinking. I need to know what's going on with him. Today is my day off. I keep on the lookout for Rumpel. Eventually, I see him making his way down a staircase. He does not look quite as disheartened as last night, but his expression is still rather somber. He says good morning to everyone as he usually does, and then walks out through the front door. And that is my cue. Following behind Rumpel without being seen proves to be remarkably easy. Even if he is perceptive, he won't be expecting me to follow after him when I normally work during these hours. I'm going to get some more water. Hold on. He makes his way through the town until it comes to a stop at a little cafe in the main plaza. It is clearly hidden, just slightly out of view, not on plain view like the rest of the shops. Bria is sitting, waiting for him at a table with a journal. The way she smiles at him numbs my heart. I make my way over to the nearby fountain and crouch aside to keep out of their view. I can hear their conversation just barely from where I sit. You know, I've been searching for you a long time when I saw you. You suddenly disappeared from the house one night and I couldn't find you. Why? Why did I leave the house? I don't know. Was it a fight? No, not a fight. We barely ever fought. We made a promise when you gave me this ring. We promised we would never make each other sad. And you broke it! I close my eyes and breathe. Bria's words drive a bitterness through my heart, after everything I heard. It's possible those rumors were baseless, but isn't it also possible that they were the truth? And Rumpel mentioned a fight. Now is my chance to tell him. Reconsider, let's not blow things up. At least not now. But if somehow everything that we heard was one big lie, would I hurt Rumpel? I also have my pride. I cannot just accuse someone, even if I feel like Bria is guilty of something. I step away from the fountain, meaning to head back the way that I came. Even if the situation sounds wrong, I feel like Rumpel would hate me getting involved. That's true. I'm surprised when he calls my name. Princess? Princess, what are you doing here? He saw me? Did he know I was behind the fountain? Spying, are we? I make my way over to the table to where Rumpel was looking at me with worry and Bria is openly scowling at me. Is there something wrong, Miss Partner? Not with me, but perhaps with you. Excuse me? You seem to have quite the reputation. Princess, I have no idea what you're talking about, but taking people's words at face value is foolish. Mother would have said the same thing, but why would they lie? So it is not true that you were seeing another man? How dare you! Bria stands up and glares at me. I frown back at her. Her anger does not faze me. She seems like a petulant child. I can't stand jealous girls. They're the bane of my existence. And you're what, 18? 17, but what does that even matter? Either way, there'd just be about a 6-year age gap between you two. 24? Gods, am I really so ancient? 24 is not ancient. The two of us look at him in unison, then back at each other. I am here because I want to help my partner, and because you're lying to him. And who are you to say that I'm lying? You're a terrible little spy is what you are, hiding places to watch us, going around town asking about me. I'm telling you now, Rumpel doesn't need you, especially if you're the one spewing lies. Those words have no weight coming from a hypocrite. Yeah, tell her off, Lucette. Wait, ladies. Rumpel looks between the two of us, eyebrows furrowed. Then he shakes his head. Bria, I knew. It was in my journal. What? Rumpel faces Bria, his expression crumpled. It was that lord, wasn't it? The one I refused to take money from that one time I helped him. He told me himself. I think that's why his feeling inside me is so mute right now, why I was always having second thoughts about your stories. Bria, why didn't you ever tell me you were seeing him? I asked you that question back then too, but you never told me, and so I was waiting for you to bring it up again. I was waiting for you to explain. I was waiting for... As if I could ever get anything to that thick skull of yours. Even I cannot stop myself from staring at her when she insults Rumpel, but with this she has admitted that the rumors are true. Even if I explained myself, all you would ever say was that you were sorry, but nothing ever changed. Right, what did I do that was so wrong? Look at you, even now you can't bring yourself to be angry at me. You knew the truth, and instead of demanding to know why I did what I did, you keep asking what you did wrong. But you'll never realize what you did wrong, Rumpel. Never. Some things never change. Bria scowls as she makes her way around the table. Rumpel tries to call her back, but Bria only frowns as she walks off. Rumpel lets out a long sigh. And there goes all my journals, too. Right, he said that Bria had all of his old journals. I'm sorry. Huh? I only made things worse. I'm still not entirely sure what they were talking about, but... Princess, you don't have to apologize for anything, though... I would like you to apologize for shedding some light on my age. Oh my god. What? Am I really, truly that old? 24 is not old! So he looks disgruntled, but the look of distraught on his face is almost comical. I cannot help it when I smile, and then start to laugh. Do my ears deceive me? Is that wonderful sound coming from your mouth, Princess? How precious! It's just... you're an old man. I mean, sure, he might be an old man to her, but... It's funny that he himself thinks that 24 is old too. If I'm an old man, then I'm young at heart. Besides, I would be a lot more offended if you weren't smiling while I said that. After a few moments, Rumpel sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry I had to see all that. I knew there was more to the story than Bria was laying on because I read the memory in my journal. You knew about the nobleman? Why did you not say anything? Like I said, I was waiting for her to say something. I wanted her to open up about it, honestly. Honestly. Bria is undoubtedly bold, but I doubt she is at all honest. The journal entry. I never read it to you. You have been distant the last week. I have been, and I'm sorry for that. But allow me to enlighten you. Rumpel gestures to the chair that Bria had been sitting in, and I take a seat opposite him. First, the nobleman was one of my patients. He had a grievous sickness, one that no one else had been able to cure. I cannot help but remember that remember a little boy with the impossible sickness. It seemed he was drawn to Rumpel too. Rumpel was not able to help that boy on his own either. Some woman offered her assistance. Did you manage to cure him with the help of that same woman? It's another cryptid entry, but yes. A mysterious woman from the first entry reappears. We strike another deal, but I cannot remember the deal at all. All I know is that afterwards I did something to make Bria hate me, and she began seeing the nobleman. Or maybe it was before that. Maybe she was just unhappy. She won't explain why. She still cheated on you. That's her fault, not yours. Is it one of those, oh, he's nice to everybody that he has no time for her kind of thing? Rumpel nods absently. I can tell he is not convinced. In any case, even though I can't remember the entirety of what happened, every time I thought of Bria, I thought of our love in the past tense. Rumpel frowns, but it is bleeding. Suddenly, he is smiling again. Let's head back for now, Princess. I'll figure out how to reach Bria later. I follow Rumpel back to the Martian. Though he seems fine for a time, Rumpel's somberness returns as we head back. He looks like he is trapped in his thoughts. He needs the rest of his journals, but how is he going to get a hold of them now? Oh, Princess, you're here. Sorry we're late. My, the Princess is gracing us with her presence. Parfait said a few days ago that she has something to discuss with me, so I'm here. Then let's get right to it, shall we? She plops down on one of the chairs, and Parfait sits down gracefully beside her. Princess, the other day you asked me about my responsibility, and briefly, about the tin and bearer. I did, but what does this have to do with me? It has everything to do with you, because when it comes to that second inquiry, the answer is right here. Delora points at me. I stare at her, not comprehending. Princess. The bearer to the crystallum tenebrarum is you. What? I'm not able to even feel shock, just confusion. But how do I have anything to do with these crystals? See, I told you she'd be confused. It's because we started backwards. I'm so sorry, Princess. I do not understand. You remember the story about the crystals, Princess? For a time, the crystals were in complete balance. Even the witches who drew on negative energy were respected. Then one day, Hans wrote the fairy tales. Witches were suddenly painted as villains. Humans attacked the witches, trying to drive them out. Their leader, who just so happened to be my best friend, was hard-pressed to try to keep the peace. She was the original bearer of the crystal. But as witches were killed and thrown out, she found her patience wearing thin. She killed a human, the ultimate taboo, and there was nothing we could do but try to stop her. This bearer, the leader of the witches and bearer of the crystalline tenebrarum, is someone you know, or someone you knew. She erased all your memories, made you think that the fairy tales were evil, that humans were terrible. I feel something dark stirring inside of me. A sharp pain cuts through my heart, making it hard to breathe. I mean, you could argue that the fairy tales were evil to the witches. The previous bearer of the crystal was your mother, Princess, Hsialu, the leader of the witches. That's impossible. Mother was not a witch. But she was, the strongest of us all. When she died, she kept some of her powers sealed within the crystal, which is why it still allows the fairy tale curse to be spread. What kind of lie is this? I cannot use magic, and Mother never told me that she was a witch. She would have told me. It sounds like it, doesn't it? But I assure you, Princess, who would ever lie to you about something like this? As impossible as it seems, you are a witch. Your power would manifest until you're 18, and at that time you inherit control of the crystal. Since your birthday is soon, this was the last chance we had to teach you goodness. Your mother has been shielding you from it for so long. We trusted you were different from her, and you are. But Mother was the only one that ever loved me. She stole away your memories and made you hate the world. Delora, she was fostering you. Yeah, that's so sad. She was fostering hatred in you, making you just like her. You do not know anything about Mother. I stand up, rage coiling up inside me like a snake. Lisette, I know a lot about her, more than you will ever know. No. The truth is hard, Princess, but eventually we all have to face it. Hsialu is my beloved friend. Facing her was the hardest thing I have ever done. We only want to help you. Well, you're not very good at it. I turn on my heels and storm out the room. I feel there is more to what Delora and Parfait want to say to me, but I cannot stand to hear it right now. I walk into the clearing and sit against a tree, furiously rubbing at my eyes as I try to clear my dangerously watery eyes. Showing emotion is weak. I sit there for a long time in the clearing, trying to calm myself. My thoughts spin wildly out of control. Princess? I see him at the corner of my eye, stand between two trees, his eyebrows knit together with worry. What, you were listening? Listening? No, I just came to look for you in your room, and when I came downstairs, Parfait told me you had run out into the forest. May I sit next to you? I say nothing as he walks over to me. He sits down beside me, his hands resting on his knees as he looks up at the canopies from the trees. Thank you for today, Princess, for coming after me and trying to make things right. I am not in the mood to talk about this right now. My thoughts are too scrambled. Sometimes truths are hard. How do you know it was a truth? A feeling. Trusting people is hard sometimes, I understand. He looks at me, and his eyes seem to glimmer softly in the moonlight. Would you like someone to listen to your problems, Princess? Remain silent. My problems. Why would you want to know about my problems? I understand what it's like, Princess, to have a secret stuck inside of you. To want to keep things to yourself because you're worried about someone will prove you wrong. But you can always talk to me about it. Why are you so interested in my problems? I told you before that the best thing you can do is to listen to a person. That's how you learn to sympathize. Besides, I honestly care about you. I will always listen to you, Princess. Rumpel slowly reaches out to rest his hand on top of mine. I sit up straight and stare at him, my eyes wide. Rumpel smiles at me, a slow, soft smile that crinkles the edges of his eyes. Seeing such a beautiful lady close to tears makes my heart break, you know. But if you ever need to cry, you should. Tears aren't weakness, they're just a form of expression, and even the strongest of us cry. I'm not going to cry. My mind reels and then starts to feel fuzzy. Definitely the Ice Princess. Why would you say that? The tale startles me out of my thoughts. I stare at him pointedly, beginning to grimace, but Rumpel just smiles. I always thought it was a delicate name, suitable for a strong and beautiful woman. Seeing you like this, it makes me realize that the name suits you. Perhaps if everyone else meant it that way, it would not be so terrible a title. You're so positive. Rumpel slowly takes his hand away and smiles, though he insists on hearing me out. I insist on the opposite. For now, I want to keep what I discussed with Parfait and Delora to myself. I still need time to process it. For tonight, I just want to forget that a conversation ever happened. For some time, the two of us are silent. There are no words exchanged between the two of us, but the silence is comfortable. Then eventually, Rumpel puts a hand on my shoulder. Things will work out, Princess. I hope so. I stand and excuse myself. Good night, Rumpel. I turn and walk away. Good night, my sweet princess. Chapter 7. Muddled Truths. Ooh. And you, my little sunflower, are just as radiant as always. Oh my, Rumpel. It's like that whole thing with Bria never happened. He is back to flattering every woman he meets. Overthinking again, Princess? I turn to see Karma grinning at me from where he sits at a table. Surprisingly, he is sitting with Jury and Garland today, who are arguing about some kind of nightstands. It is none of your business. No, it's not, but you have such a sad look on your face I had to ask. I'd appreciate you not staring at my face. I don't need to stare to see that you're in distress. I turn on my heels and begin to walk away, irritated. You and I, among other people, it's impossible to forget the conversation I had with Parfait and Delora. It hovers at the back of my mind constantly. We have not spoken again since then, yet even now, I'm still taking in what they told me before. My mother, the Tenenbaron bearer, and me, a witch. The reason others have always feared me is because of my blood. I suppressed a sigh as I attempted to return to my work. As the days go by, I notice myself becoming more and more agitated. Half of it is a recent history lesson, and the other half is Rumpel's flirting with other women. How can he just snap his fingers and get over Bria so quickly? If he flatters every woman, does that mean he does not really mean the things he says to me? I gather the plates off the counter, put them on the tray, and take them to customers. Today everything feels mechanical. For the last few days I have been noticing that I walk more stiffly, and that if I walk too quickly, my vision blurs. Probably because of my overthinking. I stumble as I bring a tray to a familiar customer. The man looks up at me and asks if I'm okay, and I murmur that I am before walking off. The blurriness comes back. What is wrong with me? I look over at Rumpel, who is at a table with two girls because his shift is over. Rather than boil over on the inside, I feel myself getting warmer on the outside. My skin feels clammy. I have to force myself to take a breath as I get the next round of orders. My last order for the day is for one of the girls at Rumpel's table. I don't want to go over there. I start carrying the tray toward the table, biting down my lip as the sway comes back into my step. As I draw closer, I notice Rumpel and the girls laughing about something. I grit my teeth and pause in front of them to lay down the tray. This isn't mine, it's my friend's. Yes, I was the one who ordered the soup. The two stare at me. Instead of handing the soup off, they wait for me to move the bowl. But before I can reach over and move it, Rumpel slides it over to the other girl himself. For a few moments, there is a fragment of a scowl on its face. How are you doing today, my sweet princess? When I think about speaking, the words catch feebly in my throat. I turn to walk off. Princess? Still as cold as ice. The title Ice Princess definitely suits her. How can you dote on her, Rumpel? Despite the numbness of my mind, I still feel angry. I turn around so quickly that I make myself stumble. I feel myself teetering on the edge of falling, but something stops me. Warm hands reach out to grab mine before I can fall. Through my dizziness, I can see Rumpel standing in front of me. Princess, look at me. He puts a hand under my chin and angles my head so I can see him better. The expression on his face is suddenly serious. He looks at me for a few moments before he places a hand on my forehead. Princess, you have a fever. A really high fever, actually. You should go back to your room and rest. I'll drop by with some medication in a few minutes after I say goodbye to these ladies. I am fine. My voice comes out hoarse, trying to clear my throat only makes me feel more miserable. Princess, you're not fine. You look like you're about to collapse. I will not collapse. I'm stronger than that. Mother taught me how to be strong. Mother... My thoughts become scrambled. Once again my mind wanders, but this time I cannot keep myself steady as I try to walk away. Putting one foot in front of the other proves to be too difficult, and I once again feel myself start to stumble. Then I feel warmth, this time arms instead of hands. Sweet little princess, what am I going to do with you? Oh. Before I can understand what is happening, I am lifted off my feet. I feel an arm supporting my back and another supporting me beneath the crook of my knees. Warmth. Such a nice warmth. You really are stubborn, aren't you, Princess Lucette? Struggle! Struggle! Get away from me, you weird little man. I can't just let him carry me up like this. I attempt to move away from him, but my whole body is weak. It is all I can do to try to roll out of his arms, but even that does not work. If you fall, you get a bump on your head, you know. I'm not weak. I do not need anyone taking care of me. There are voices, an indistinct chatter behind him that belongs to the girls. Rumpel speaks in a low voice. Stubborn she may be, but my sweet princess is stronger than any other woman I've ever known. He pulls me closer to him, and I feel his chest on my head, then his heartbeat. I know you're strong, princess. Stronger than anyone else, even. But because you are so strong, I know you'll never admit to needing help. Aww? That's not going to help you without your permission. I'm sorry. Mixed feelings about that. I'm going to help you without your permission. So I let myself settle in his arms. I lean my head into his chest and listen to his heartbeat. It is a gentle, sweet sound that makes me feel like drifting into slumber. So warm. Ah, but not as warm as you are right now, princess. Because she has a fever? His voice slowly begins to fade out as I close my eyes. For the time being, I stop caring about everything else around me. I forget about Mother, about my talk with Delore and Parfait, about the crystal, the Martian, and I focus on Rumpel. Is it so selfish to want to be the only person held like this by him, even when he was engaged to someone before? Slumber slowly reaches up to claim me, darkness intermingling with warmth. In that last moment, I think I see Rumpel smile at me. No, she's going to be crushed again. Mother, I had to tell you about the fairy tale that the children read to me today. Lucette, what did I tell you about the fairy tales? But there was a princess, just like me. She found her Prince Charming, and fairy tales are not real. But they make really good stories, Mother. They're false stories. Do you really think it will be so easy to live happily ever after? No, but fairy tales make things black and white. Real life is full of grays. I mean, she's not wrong there. Black and white? Good and evil. No one is totally evil, and no one is totally good. Even princes are not completely just. You know what? She's actually making sense here. So princess and princesses can be bad? Luzette, everyone has darkness to them. The princes that throw themselves into danger are not selfless. They seek wealth, fame, or power. You see, fairy tales are lies because no one is so selfless and so full of love. People are two-faced. Trust no one. Yes, mother. No one will love you like I do. To find pure love like that is impossible. And we go back to the gaslighting. I slowly blink my eyes open. For a few moments the room is blurry, and there is nothing but vivid colors before my eyes. My eyes feel heavy, my throat scratchy. I stifle a cough as I blink back tears, and then through my tears I notice a slight motion. Rumpel? Rumpel was slumped in a chair in front of my bed, his head lowered to the side, his eyes closed. Aww. He murmurs something in his sleep and then shifts. What's he doing here? Watching over you, obviously! I notice a notebook on his lap. And what was that journal? I slowly slide my hand out from underneath the covers and reach across the bed. Right as my fingers are about to brush the cover, Rumpel's hand suddenly falls on mine. Looks like you're feeling better. He pulls his hand away, along with the book, before carefully setting my hand back down the covers. At least you look better, but how do you feel? Better. Rumpel looks tired, but the smile is still there. Oh, I won't believe it until I see it. You just said that I looked better. That's my own analysis, but you, my sweet princess, don't sound very convinced. My throat is a little sore, and I think if I stood up I would fall over. Why do you look so surprised? You will usually never admit to such a thing, would you? You're still most definitely sick. Rumpel leans forward to put a hand on my forehead. His hand is cool on my hot skin. Her eyes lock as he tests my temperature. After a few moments, he finally peels his eyes away from me and sits back in his chair. Your temperature is down, but you definitely need the rest, princess. You should go back to sleep. And what, will you just sit there and watch me? The words come out curt and I mean them to, and for a few moments Rumpel looks surprised. Then he laughs. Princess, I haven't just been staring at you, I've been writing in my journal too. You have such a scary look on your face. Not that it's enticing, but I think your smiles are much better. I sigh as I close my eyes for a few moments. I fight to put my scrambled thoughts together, but one thought in particular keeps resurfacing. For some reason, I cannot help but remember the snide woman standing by Rumpel's side, jeering at me earlier. I open my eyes and look at Rumpel. Those women from earlier. Oh, right. I apologize for impoliteness. The things I said to you were uncalled for, and I told them that. You flirt with women like that all the time, but why? They're not even good people. Not good people, but, well, I suppose they act differently when you're there. Princess Lizette, you're blind to their jealousy, aren't you? They are jealous of me? Why? My mind turns over what they could possibly be jealous about as my eyes fall on Rumpel. Remember the way he defended me to the women. Is it because you're my partner? It's a lot more than that. It's your grace, the noble way you carry yourself. They would never think I have those qualities. But where else would their jealousy stem from? They are just jealous that I take your attention away from them. Princess, I think you're... Even if they were nice people, I do not see how I can flirt with them when you were just recently in love with someone else. Normally I would stop talking, but the words continue tumbling out of me. I do not understand how someone like you who had a fiancé could still be flirting with girls. How can you love someone that all you do is flirt with other girls? Flattery is one thing, but you cannot just flatter every girl. I may not remember a lot of things, Princess, but I know for certain that whatever feelings I have for Bria vanished a long time ago. The good ones, at least. Rumpel. The words break apart as I start coughing. Don't rile yourself up over this. Please rest. I slowly lean back into my pillows with my eyes half closed. Why do I even care about Rumpel just? Why does it bother me that he flirts with other girls? That's his business. Rumpel pulls the covers closer to my chin and smiles. Just because I fire other women, that doesn't mean that I can't love someone. Then stop it. You always say some woman has stolen your heart, but your heart cannot belong to everyone. Yeah, tell him off or something. Yet you told me you always speak the truth. Maybe that in itself is a little white lie, just some harmless dramatics. But most girls know I'm being dramatic, princess. They don't take my words so seriously, even if I do mean my compliments. How do you know? He stares at me for a few moments, thoughtful. Does it bother you so much that I compliment other girls? Of course not. Though it will be difficult to hold my tongue, I would do it for you, princess, so don't worry. Why would you do something like that for me? My eyes are suddenly so heavy I have no choice but to close them as I let out a deep sigh. My head is beginning to hurt again. Behind my closed eyelids, I can hear a soft shuffle as Rumpel moves in his chair. Right before I fall back into the darkness of sleep, I feel something warm and soft on my forehead. Rumpel? A goodnight kiss. No! You! Consent! His words are quiet, and I can only just barely make them out. I cannot think on them, because the pool of sleep is much too tempting. Consent, Rumpel! I'm so conflicted about this route. It takes a while, but after several days, Rumpel finally allows me to go back to work. Oops. It's all a little bit of a blur now, like it was all just a dream. Now, princess, back up on her feet? Yes, I'm fine now. Oh, what a relief. Last I saw you looked quite pale. When? I dropped in to check on you in your room when Rumpel was there. He told me that I had everything under control. Why did you need to check on me? Because I was worried, of course. Maybe you've been working too hard. No, I'm fine. Just tell me what things need to be done. Are you sure you're okay? She's fine, Anis. Dolores suddenly appears behind me, smirking. The princess is sturdy and a little too stubborn to let a little sickness get her down. I had not spoken with Delora or Parfait since that night where they decided to tell me about Mother. Just thinking about what they told me, it puts me on edge. Aw, princess, why the sour expression? Allow me to calm you down with a little lullaby. Excuse me? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Anis, give those work orders now. Up above the world so high. Anis! Oh, the tables and the whist are yours, Princess Lizette. I quickly walk away from the bar and catch only the last little bit of Dolores singing. Like a diamond in the sky. She sang that the night I was cursed. Hearing her sing it again is infuriating. The song slowly fades from my mind as I go about my work for the day. I still look a little shaky on my feet, but not so much that I need to go back to bed. As I'm walking around the bar, I catch snatches of conversations as I serve food. I hear the king has been mediating arguments between his two advisors. That Mithros man, he reminds me of a snake, always smiling that slittery smile of his. Smiling that slittery smile of his. That one outcaster. Apparently there has been no end to their squabbles. The king missed his monthly visit to the towers today, didn't he? I wonder if he's sick. There's been no word from the palace, but I suppose he must have come down with something. Nothing would keep the king from visiting otherwise. What is going on at the palace? What is going on at the palace? Ah, you heard about the incident with the royal guard? Apparently lots of them have been getting dishonorably discharged. Found doing something to dishonor the king's name. Huh? Like what exactly? Not sure. The information is still under wraps. I'm walking forward, not watching where I'm going when I collide with someone in my path. I feel a hand on my shoulder and then another lifts my chin. If it isn't the lovely princess, you're looking a lot peachier today. Because you're not as pale? Because the color is coming back into your skin? I'm still thinking of the king and the situations in the palace, and barely hear Rumpel's words. It's until he leans closer to me and narrows his eyes that I realize he is so close. Ah, now Sleeping Beauty is truly awake, and here I was hoping I would have an excuse to plant a kiss on your lips, my sweet princess. Not a single reaction today. Not a slight blush. Not a slap. Not... Are you still sick? Must I perform another examination? Examination? Yes, by looking closely at your face, into your eyes. How are you a doctor, Rumpel? Rumpel stares at me with surprise. I'm not sure where the question came from, just that it was hovering in my head. What? Princess, you wound me. I have not seen you do anything different from Anna's. But my prescriptions, even the people at the shops could tell us what medicines to buy. Fine, I'll show you. Rumpel's expression slips into something shockingly solemn. He looks at me gravely and extends a hand. If you will be so kind as to come up to my room. Does going up to your room have anything to do with work? Delora appears before me again, this time without the snide smile. She raises an eyebrow. I don't think either of your shifts are over. She looks at me first. Oh, so I meant for a lullaby to inspire you, not scare you, princess. For a few moments she looks concerned, which startles me. The lullaby is certainly associated with a terrible memory, but the weight of that memory has dissipated over time, as has my anger at Delora. It is still there, but holding on to that anger does me no good. I sigh and shake my head. You have a terrible voice. Ah, there's the princess we all know and love. She crosses her arms. Anyway, you don't want me to sing you into action again, do you? Come to my room later then, princess. I'll show you proof. Proof? That I am a capable doctor. Rumpel walks off, leaving me with Delora, who looks at me skeptically for a few moments. Something on your mind, princess? There are so many conversations I heard earlier, so many questions that I have. While I do not want to speak to Delora, I may as well ask her about something she might know. I overheard rumors about the palace. Did you now? We still haven't confirmed those rumors yet. Look, princess, I know it's not in your nature to trust people, but trust Parfait in me, at least. We'll let you know if something is up. I am ushered back to work, where I spend the next 2 hours searching for more information. Unfortunately, everything I hear is just speculation. Good work today, Lisette. Has Rumpel already left? I think he went up to his room earlier. Thank you. Annis looks at me, curious. What? You and Rumpel have grown a lot closer, haven't you? Well, we are partners. But in the beginning you didn't even want him as a partner. And now the two of you are. Friends? Friends? If Rumpel considers me a friend, that should make me happy, but for some reason it makes me feel empty inside. Why? What else could we be besides friends? My cheeks feel warm as I try to think beyond the idea of just being friends of Rumpel. I'm happy that two of you get along. Annis, I need to go. I told him I would meet him for something tonight. Oh, okay. Sorry for holding you up. Annis scrambles off, leaving me by myself. I stand there for a few moments in an attempt to still my thoughts, and then I begin to make my way to Rumpel's room. Rumpel? The door swings open, and there stands Rumpel. With a dramatic bow, he ushers me inside, before closing the door behind him. I wasn't entirely certain you'd show up, princess. Normally when you go places with me, it's out of necessity. I only came to see this proof you insisted upon earlier. Proof that you are more than what you seem. He places a hand on my back and guides me over to a chair. He requests I sit, and I do. Here it is, my proof. You tried to read it while you were sick too. Your journal? I see I'm writing this before, but I thought it was for his memories, not for doctor things. He barely even works on patients now. Rumpel's persistence strokes my curiosity, and soon I find myself flipping through the pages of the book. This was the journal you had when the Martian found you on the streets. You said it was empty then. It was. I have been filling things in from my memory ever since I remembered my job. The book is filled with diagrams. Diagrams of the body, both inside and out. I have no idea what most of the words mean. What are all the smaller words here? Oh, parts of the pancreas. Not very fun to talk about. There's the papilla, the pancreatic duct. Why is it necessary to use such big words for such simple things? For clarification, sometimes when you diagnose a problem, it isn't as simple as telling a person that their heart is weak. I continue flipping through it, Rumpel sometimes explaining things that are on the page, though I do not ask for the descriptions. Scattered throughout the journal are journal entries about his life. When I get to the last entry, I spot my name and begin to read, but before I can even get to the next word after my name, Rumpel has taken the journal from my hands. Ah, sorry, my sweet, but a man's words are sometimes all he has. Insult them and you break him from the inside out. He thinks I'm going to insult his writing? But what did you think? Aren't you impressed with my sophistication, my breadth of knowledge, my intricacy? You drew some pictures and wrote fancy words by them. Yes, but from memory. Princess. I cannot help the little laugh that escapes my lips. Ah, immediately after I hear it, I feel myself flushing as Rumpel grins at me triumphantly. Your laughs are sweeter than honey, Princess. And because your voice is back and you're no longer sick, I can hear it in all of its fullness. You take a step closer to me and reaches out to touch my cheek. I flinch in surprise, but do not draw away. The rapid beating in my heart is not altogether uncomfortable, even if it does confuse me. He pulls his hand away from my cheek, then flicks my forehead. What was that for? I wanted to see the way your eyes glimmered. You looked oddly vacant there for a few moments. I open my mouth to speak again, but Rumpel surprises me by setting his finger on my lips. He inches closer to me, so close I can feel his breath on my cheeks. But even when you don't speak, your eyes speak for you. You have beautiful eyes, you know. Who else did that again? Rod did. Look away. No, that's the part I should say. There he goes again with his compliments. I should be used to him by now, but lately whenever he compliments me, I cannot stop myself from feeling flattered. If I look into his eyes, I can almost see my reflection in them. Without realizing, I look away from him, feeling my breath stop short before I can breathe out. Are you sick, Princess? You look a little flushed. Princess? He removes his finger. He does not, however, step back. I'm still aware of his lips so close to mine, and his eyes, which are still looking right at me. This feels different than your usual resistance. Could it be that you're embarrassed? He clears his throat, then starts speaking again. In any case, it's so nice to have you back, Princess. I missed you while you were sleeping day in and out. You missed me? But you have friends all over the Martian. Yes, but none of them are you. You're special. My heart plunges like a rock. I can feel it everywhere in my body, reverberating from a place that doesn't feel like my chest. He lowers his face so that the two of us are seeing eye to eye. I forget to breathe as his hands go to my shoulders. Princess? Yes? I inhale sharply as I get a better look at Rumpel's face. Up until now, I have not stopped to look too closely at his features, but now I cannot stop my eyes from taking them in. Whenever you're sick again, I'll be there to help you, because I am a doctor, even if you might not believe it. All you'll ever really need is a little vitamin me. In one precious moment, every single bit of energy that had been between us vanished. I stare blankly at Rumpel as he smiles at me. No? I thought that one was actually good too. Why? Rumpel pulls his hands away, defeated. I suddenly feel strangely upset. What was I expecting from him? What else could he have said? Suddenly I'm eager to look away from him. He could have not said it. I look anywhere but at him, and eventually my eyes fall on a piece of paper. I recognize the name printed on the top, along with Rumpel's signature and the response line next to it. Rumpel moved to stand from the desk once more. Ah, that's... You are still writing to Bria? I sent her a letter asking for my old journals. I'm convinced that is where the last of my memories are, but... She refuses to give them to me. What a bee. I glance at Bria's letter, my eyes scouring the words. I make a mental note of the address on the envelope. But don't worry, Princess. I'll figure it out. But for now... He reaches for me, but I duck out of the way of his hand. I have to do this now, while the address is so fresh in my head. I just remembered there is something I need to do. But Princess, I will see you tomorrow. I pause at the door to glance at Rumpel. See you tomorrow, Princess. Sweet dreams. Good night, Rumpel. Done. I seal the envelope over the letter I had been writing since I woke up. And now to have it delivered. After I have the letter sent off with messenger, I return to my work for the day. It starts first with Mr. Broom, then with the serving. I look for Rumpel, knowing that it is now his time off, and I'm surprised when I see him sitting not with other women, but with Karma. The two of them are laughing together? I guess that advice isn't too terrible. I give the best advice, darling. I'm a man of the heart. Perhaps not as much as I am, but I can give you credit when it's due. What are you two talking about? Princess. Well, hello there, Princess. Karma's mischievous smile confuses me. Even Rumpel looks surprisingly shaken. You did not answer my question. We are talking about matters related to the heart. Of course you are. I took it upon myself to impact valuable advice to Rumpel. You are giving Rumpel advice, even though you two are always at each other's throats? Even the bitterest enemies can become beloved friends. All it takes is a shared interest. I have no idea what you are talking about. But before I can say anything else, I'm swept up by Delora, who calls me back to work. The day goes on, and soon it is almost my break. I go to the front to see if the messenger has returned yet. Ah, Princess, there's a letter here for you. I did not expect a response. I opened up and stared down at the letter for a long time. Writing love letters to a secret lover, Princess? Rumpel appears behind me, his smile unusually small. He looks almost hesitant to be standing there. It is not important. I stuff the letter into my pocket and continue working. For the rest of the day, I ignore Rumpel. I do not want him asking about this letter, just in case things do not go according to plan. He is obviously disheartened by my ignoring him, and his sadness only persists in making me feel guilty. This is not something he can know about, otherwise he would try to stop me. Almost everyone has gone to their rooms, including a very saddened Rumpel. Aww, the only people remaining are Annis and myself. Earlier, Watts came in insisting that I speak to Delora and Parfait, and so the three of them are all off talking in the other room. Curiosity gets the better of me, and soon I find myself sweeping closer to the door. I edge it open quietly on my foot so I can see what is happening inside. I didn't think he was still alive. This is very troubling. He must have used the glamour. But the fact that I didn't realize it was him Is that the princess I spot peeping through the door? I try to hide, but all the eyes in the room catch me before I can do so. Do you eavesdrop on people often, Lucette? I had no real reason to eavesdrop on them besides my own curiosity. It's no harm done, Delora. Lucette, are you almost done with your chores? Ever since that conversation with Parfait and Delora, I have noticed that the words Parfait and I speak to each other are strange. Delora, however, is unchanged. I expect sarcasm from her now, but she does not deliver. She simply stands still and looks at me somberly. I am, and what are you all talking about? Hiding more things from me? We're talking about the rumors that have been going around about the palace. What have you heard? I have a right to know what is happening at the palace. We would tell you if we knew for certain, Princess. Watts sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. I know the timing doesn't seem right, but I really should show myself out. I have a show early morning tomorrow. He glances around at all of us. I'm going to excuse myself for the night. Good night, everyone. As he passes by me, he smiles. And to you too, Princess. Once again, everyone is being secretive. What is sour fates, Princess? Are you worried about what happens to the people in the palace you care nothing for? Delora! Okay, that wasn't called for. But really though, there is something I've been meaning to tell you. Since you're here now, I might as well say it. I knew you for 1 year before I cursed you. I saw what your mother had done to you, and I knew I needed to undo the damage before your birthday. Why is she talking about this now? I called you cruel and wicked, when really I knew that the way you were was caused by the way your mother brought you up. And when we talked about Hildir the other day, I was unfair in what I said to you. We all had to face reality, but... Delora pauses, looking surprisingly solemn. She sighs and continues. I always knew you had some good in you. I saw it in you when you spoke to your dolls. You have a good heart. Many people enjoy flattery, princess, and a lot of people are receptive to flirting. But nothing can measure up to a genuine compliment. Delora just complimented me. Thank you. Out of all people, I did not expect Delora to compliment me. Not when she makes a point of always telling me the blunt truth. Thank you. There is no shock on Parfait and Delora's faces when they smile at me. I'm beginning to think you and Delora are alike. You're both stubborn and have good in you, but you hide it behind sarcasm. Hey, Lucilla and I are nothing alike. I feel lighter somehow. I do not know if I have forgiven Delora just yet, but her cursing me has led me to see many things I would not have seen before. I owe her nothing, but I am still happy, even if the truth hurts. Oh, what's this? My lovely little princess is in here with you too? Rumpel, you're early tonight. Surprised to see me, beautiful? Rumpel's earlier anxiety is gone. He looks at me with unbridled enthusiasm. I heard the princess's thank you from a distance. The words are always most beautiful when leaving her mouth. So you're also eavesdropping. You two are very alike. Not at all. Rumpel leans toward me and smiles. My dream is to one day hear those words from you too, because you say them as gentle as the wind. If you're here to talk to Parfait about medicine, then I'm out. Who said you should leave too? Well then, sleep well, beautiful maidens. I quickly finish my chores and return to my room, where I lay on my bed contemplating tomorrow. I cannot believe Bria wrote back to me. Tomorrow I'll meet with her, and hopefully she will agree to give me his journals. I hope this works. For Rumpel's sake. Chapter 8. Chevalier? Chevalier? I don't know. Let's see. Today I'm outside by myself. I think if Parfait or Delora knew, they would do worse than scold me. I shuffle uncomfortably as I sit at the little cafe Bria told me to wait for her at. A part of me is already convinced that she will not come. When I wrote her that letter asking for Rumpel's journals and she responded so easily, I was a little suspicious, but this is really the only chance I have. The only chance to have at what? Bria appears in front of me, not looking altogether unpleased, but still not smiling. Nothing. I do not like her, but I will have to play nice if I want to get Rumpel's journals back. Thank you for meeting me out here. Bria takes a seat from me, her expression still flat. You asked me in your letter why I was refusing to speak to Rumpel, and then you told me you want to meet with me to find out why. You want the journals too, don't you? She reaches into a bag and pulls out a few journals that I assume are Rumpel's. So she does have them. I know in your eyes I must seem the villain, but I'm not the only one at fault in this relationship. Years ago when I met Rumpel, he was as he is now. Flirtatious, charming, over the top. Yet his compliments still made my heart sore. His compliments may be shallow, but Rumpel was far from it. I pined after him for years. He was studying medicine, and I was studying to take over my mother's sewing shop. In the first years that I knew him, Rumpel always complimented my work, even though it was nothing special. He insisted we do trade-offs. When we started dating, he would offer me flowers and trinkets. In exchange, I would sew him some article of clothing. I can see he's still wearing the scarf that I made him. That scarf was from Bria. We fell in love. Rumpel became a changed man, more serious. He became a doctor, and I opened up a shop. We were supposed to have a fairy tale ending, but her expression falls again as she looks absently down at the table. We saw each other ideals that didn't exist. Love can be shallow, or it can be deep. I felt her love was deep, but in truth I only ever knew the very surface of Rumpel. The surface? I saw his kindness, his charm, and his drive to do what was right. But then as time went on, I also saw what that meant. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they would take advantage of those who are too caring. Those sound like Mother's words. I shudder as I think about Mother's pessimism, the same kind that lies in me. is a realistic way of looking at the world, but it is also so dismal and cloudy that it's impossible to see any light within it. Rumpel helped a lot of people. Many of them were wonderful people, and I was always happy to see him do so much. But then he started putting other people above himself, and because we lived together, that meant me as well. Yeah, I thought so. Maybe it sounds petty to you, but no woman wants to live in poverty. I look at her skeptically. In the back of my mind, I remember the convenience of luxury, of so much money. I then recall a feeling of living poor on the streets and flinch. We had a house, and we had a reputation, but Rumpel refused money most of the time. He helped lots of poor people, but he also dried out our wallets. And whenever I brought it up to him, he would smile, as if that could just get rid of all of our problems. He made a name for himself as a doctor who helped the poor for minimal money, sometimes for free. And even when I told him we needed more money, he put other people first. He was so selfless that he became selfish. And I told him before that he should have accepted money, that he needed it. So selfless, he became selfish. I had to go behind his back and find payment. What I was making wasn't enough. So I went to find his patients and tried to ask for payment. I became almost like a beggar. Can you imagine my humiliation? Rumpel put his patients before Bria. That doesn't mean she can just cheat on him, though. I was convinced he didn't love me, and my love dwindled for him. Our relationship became strained. Bria goes on to explain the events that happened between her and the nobleman. It was one of Rumpel's patients, and when she went to him to ask for the money he had originally offered, the two of them became intimate. But it was short-lived, and when the nobleman left her behind, Bria had to deal with a soured reputation. I wanted to make it up to Rumpel. I thought I could salvage this relationship, maybe even start over and teach him what was right, but that's not my place. She sighs deeply and then gestures at me. I share blame in all of this too, but so does Rumpel. That's why I decided to let this all go. Does she really think it's the same thing? Whatever he does now, you had to deal with, because you're his partner, right? Bria hands me the bag of journals. Don't look so surprised. You came here for these, not to listen to me. I thought on it last night. I have no reason to keep them around when they'll just continue making me better. I had to rely on myself for a while, but that's fine. Sometimes it's easier to keep to yourself than to trust others. She moves to stand up, but I surprise myself by reaching out to grab her hand. Bria, I don't need your pity. I thought the same thing. What? I still think the same thing. It's so much easier to close the world off. It's so much easier to trust no one but yourself, but it should also be a balance. That's what Rumpel has taught me. And I want to teach him how to have balance too. You. You're falling for his kindness the same way I did. You fell in love with him even though you told yourself he was shallow and unrealistic. My heart thumps once, loudly in my chest. Love? I can read it right off your face. I know how it feels too, but don't get wrapped up in an ideal, little girl. That's my warning. If you can help him, actually help him, then you're meant to be together. But otherwise, trusting Rumpel might only break your heart. I'm not a little girl. I know how to be realistic. My words trail off as I look at her helplessly. Bria surprises me by speaking up quietly. Thank you for listening to me. He pulls her hand away and slowly smiles at me. It's the first honest smile I've seen on her face. I feel something warm at my chest, and then a bright light emanates from my necklace. A good deed for listening to Bria, or... Why did we teleport? I glanced down at the bag of journals, then down at my necklace. Wait, was the background almost like this? Or I thought it was the fountain. I touched the pendant. The noon piece brings a brief smile to my lips. I have 2 good deeds now. Only one more and I can break my curse. Magic? Is this another fairy tale curse? Okay, maybe I remember wrong. Maybe this was the same background. Yes. Your name was Lucette, wasn't it? Rumpel talked about you fondly. I hope that the both of you break your curses. Good luck. Bria walks away, leaving me by myself in the town square. My mind swirls with everything that she just told me. I still cannot bring myself to like Bria, but I feel more closure now. Fine, that's true. But now something new plagues my mind. How could I fall in love with someone like Rumpel? The more I say it, the more it becomes a certainty. But rather than fill me with joy, it only makes me more confused. I cannot think about this now. I turn on my heels to head back and bump promptly into a man. No, not you! Oh, sorry, madam. He smiles at me and then keeps walking. Ugh, I stare after him, feeling slightly uncomfortable. You should be. With a mask and cloak, the man reminded me of a performer. I make my way back to the Martian with the bag of journals, still struggling to keep my mind from wandering. Every time I think about Rumpel being so close to me, or his kindness toward me, I feel jittery inside. Despite everything that Bria said, I cannot stop these feelings. These feelings are annoying. Yet even as I think that, I know it is not the full truth. Do I really? I hear the Martian's door open and out steps Waltz. The minute he sees me, his eyes widen and he runs toward me. Princess, where were you? I was running an errand. I hold up the bag, but it does little to ease Waltz's frustration. We were all looking for you and we got worried that the witches had found you. Rumpel already went out into town. What? I'll go. Please, Princess, stay inside. His expression softens somewhat until all I can see on his face is worry. I'll go get Rumpel. My mood feels completely dashed as I enter the Martian to whispers both relieved and disappointed. Surprisingly, I get away with just a lecture from Delora and Parfait. It seems as if there is something else on their mind, something that most likely involves a rumor circulating around town. I wait downstairs for a long time for Rumpel, but neither him nor Waltz appear. Where are they? I retire to my room later as I wait for news. Waltz eventually returns, saying that Rumpel was still out because he had things he wanted to do. I have no idea what that means, but it unsettles me. Leave the room. Should I go find him? Yes, we are leaving the room. I'd stand and stop for a few moments to look at the bag of journals beside my bed. And here I was looking forward to giving those journals to him. I make my way toward the door, turn the knob, and then walk outside. Princess! Before I can even think about saying anything, I feel his warmth envelop me and I freeze. One of his hands moves to the small of my back, where it remains as he smiles down at me. I caught you just in time, my feisty sweet. Do you plan on escaping into the dead of night again? Have words abandoned you in the wake of my dramatic appearance? I hurriedly pry myself away with a little gasp. A few steps back, I can see him in full. I know it's a bouquet he carries. I'm glad to see you back, Princess. I'm only sorry that I couldn't make it back here any faster. I had a few errands of my own to run in town. Rumpel holds out a bouquet with a glittering smile. Like buying these flowers from the girl I really like, for instance. I stare down the beautiful bouquet made up of white lilies, but the appearance slowly leaves my mind as I think of what Rumpel just said. He bought them for a girl he likes, not for me. He's giving them to you, though! My heart feels as if it might be pierced with something sharp. My breath escapes my throat, but I cannot bring myself to inhale again. Rumpel looks at me in alarm. Who's that? I nudge him out of the way and walk past him. Oh boy, this is the minor misunderstanding. I make my way to a reception area where I collapse onto one of the couches and sit, staring blankly at the walls. The feelings inside me are too much all at once. I tell myself they do not make any sense, and that the way I reacted to what Rumpel said was pitiful. And yet still I cannot stop myself from feeling small. I sink into the couch and close my eyes, willing away the sound of my rapidly beating heart and the tears stinging the edge of my eyes. I'm not weak. I will not cry. Mother told me. But the thought of Mother makes the tears worse, and soon I am sinking even further into the couch, trying to hide my tear-stained face in my hands. Mother, Bria, they both said the same things. They both see the bad in people, and I too have seen the bad in them. When I was on the streets, no one in Angio showed me kindness. People will never show you kindness unless there is something in it for them. They will never... I feel some warmth as arms wrap around me. I recognize the sensation, the warmth, the comfort. It is also comforting, so soothing. I must be the worst person in the world to make such a beautiful lady cry. It's a sin that I must atone for. My body stiffens, but I do not pull away. I listen to the sound of his heartbeat against my ear, and slowly but surely my crying dies away. My eyes are sore by the time I finish. I finally manage to still the tears. I feel drowsiness descend upon me like a blanket, but I will not fall asleep. Slowly I pry myself from the arms holding me. Hello, my love. I messed up again, didn't I? I did not see the bouquet in his hands, but a journal. One of the journals I brought back for him from Bria. You're capable of a lot more good than I am, princess. Just look at this. He reaches out and touches my necklace. I glance down at it. You got my journals back for me. I saw them in your room. And I feel it, that this one, the most recently dated one, is the one that I need to unlock my final memory. I grasp the second incomplete glass slipper around my neck and breathe out softly. Then this really is from retrieving Rumpel's journals for him. I got a good deed for finally doing something good for Rumpel. Would you allow me to read it with you? He reaches out and gently brushes a tear from my face. You did all this for me, and you barely know anything about me. That makes both of us. If you wouldn't mind, I want to read out this entry for you. I nod, even though I should be shaking my head. Even though I should still be hurt, I cannot stay mad at Rumpel. On this night, I am a poor man. Everything that is precious to me has been stolen away by the witch. Rumpel's voice catches in his throat as he stares at the words. I look over his shoulder at the journal. Witch, was he already cursed when he wrote this? But I have no one to blame but myself. Bria told me before that I would suffer for my selflessness, and so now I find myself here. And now, because of that same selflessness, Bria is sick. I cannot save her. There's only one thing left to do. I have wronged Bria in so many ways, and now I give anything it takes to save her. No matter what price the witch asks, I will pay it. Only hope that Bria can forgive me before she leaves. I will write again when the witch has left. I swear that after today, I will change for good. I will not ask the witch to perform any more miracles. Rumpel's finger goes to the page, where he softly touches a single word. His eyes have the glazed look in them that they had before, and I can tell his memories are snapping back together. For tonight, good night, and may tomorrow be a better morning. I read the last word, a name and a signature. Rumpel reads it aloud slowly. Chevalier Dumont. Your name, Chevalier? I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but we're going with it. He looks up at me, and his eyes forlorn, and then with sadness, he speaks. That's right. It is so strange. It is just a different name, and yet it seems to change him completely. I remember everything now. I was given the Rumpelstiltskin curse because I sacrificed too much. First, it was the boy, the one we saw in the market. I struck a deal with a woman to save him. A witch. He mentioned striking a deal with a woman, but a witch? I don't have the ability to heal, none of us do, except for one particular witch who calls herself the Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor? Is something wrong? That name just sounds familiar. The Witch Doctor? It's no wonder I recognize the name, but yes, it was her. She promised she could heal the boy, but for a price. I had to give her a family heirloom, my family stethoscope. Next was a nobleman. I could not help him, and so he lay in his bed, dying. The witch visited again, and I gave her what she asked for. What did you give her? My engagement ring. Bria found out. She told me she'd never forgive me, and then she chased the nobleman to ask for money we desperately needed, and... well, you know the rest. He gave away things that are precious to him, all to help those people. Then Bria got sick. I made one last deal with the witch because I was desperate to save her life. But it wasn't until after she healed Bria that she told me what she wanted. She wanted your memories. I don't remember what happened exactly. I think I panicked because I suddenly lost my memories. I ran out into the alleys, bumped my head on something, fell unconscious. And then I woke up here in the tavern. I had no idea who I was or how I had gotten cursed. Rumpel, Chevalier's expression grows more somber. I deserved to be cursed after everything I had done. I was so selfish, an idealist maybe, but I hurt Bria because I refused to see reality. I still deserve to be cursed, actually. But why? Because I am still selfish. Even having remembered everything that made me a bad person, I still desire something. Someone I shouldn't have. My heart plummets again as he looks at me. I still want so badly to forge a future with someone I don't deserve, because what am I other than a poor doctor? I'm no knight in shining armor, and I'm no prince. He puts a hand on my cheek and leans closer to me. The distance between us closes in mere seconds. But still, I keep on dreaming, because His fingers gently caress my cheek, and suddenly, I know. Oh, for fuck's sake, finally! I know what he's going to say before he even says it. Haha. I love you. But I'm not. Whether you're a Rumpel or Chevalier, you're the same person. You do not need to be a knight or a prince. He accepted me for who I was. He still does. Mother told me that humans were untrustworthy, but... Chevalier smiles at me as he puts his other hand on my back and pulls me closer. The smile is so genuine and so gentle. The same smile I have grown to love. Ah! Oh god, I got jump scared. I got jump scared. Ah! Whatever words I have been made to say die on my throat as he leans forward and gently places his left arm right. I feel more ground than I have ever felt before, but I also feel like I'm flying. Resting my hands on his chest and flicks my fingers into his shirt. He runs his fingers gently down on my face and down the length of my neck. The kiss feels too short, yet I'm still breathless when Chevalier pulls away from me, just enough so I can see his eyes. I love you, my sweet princess. For your smile, for your laugh, for the way that you look out for other people. You're bold and feisty, and you remind me of a firework. You're beautiful, inside and out. Aww. The compliment warms my heart in a way that makes me feel like it might be melting. He reaches behind him and holds out the bouquet from earlier. These are for you. You like lilies, don't you? I take the bouquet from him and bring it to my nose. These have always been my favorite color. Color? Whoa! Favorite flower? How did you know? Chevalier grins at me. It is so similar to his previous smiles, I know he must not have changed. The first time I gave you that white chocolate flower, your eyes lit up. I figured out that Chevalier was receptive before, but the bouquet in my hands feels all the more meaningful now. I still need to know if she actually finished the chocolate, because that actually really does bother me. Princess, I swear that I want to try and change. For you. You should do it for yourself, too. Myself. You should spoil yourself more, too. You always give to others, but don't take for yourself. Now you know what you did, and you can change things. If Bria can, so can I. Bria? I went and spoke to her when I was in town today, while I was getting the bouquet as a gift for you. We had a talk about moving on. I didn't understand it fully, and I don't think she did either, but we both agreed that we should. So I'm going to change what I can, princess. And I promise that I'm going to help you break your curse, just as you helped me break mine. All the good things I've done are for you. That's true. But you've done a lot of other good things too, even if they may not be big enough to count for your 3 good deeds. It just so happens that your curse is very picky. Good things. Even though I'm still hurt and see more hurtful things than not. I finger a necklace on my neck and thought, maybe Chevalier is right. Maybe I have changed, and it's a good change. I sit close to Chevalier as the night goes on. He tells me a little bit about his past, and I tell him about mine. About Mother and the palace. The night is not one for advice, just listening. I remember what Chevalier told me once, that listening can be just as meaningful as advice, that listening to others can help you understand them. And he was right. Princess, are you okay? Oh, if it isn't the princess, are those dark circles under your eyes from a romantic night out, You were out with someone last night? No, they're from being woken up early by Delora to do chores. Delora grins at me from the other side of the bar, but says nothing as she goes back to a conversation with another boarder. Darling, you're no fun at all. You must tell me what happened last night. Last night? Did you like the bouquet? How do you know about the bouquet? Why, because it was my suggestion. When Chevalier was asking Karma for advice, it was about me. Look at the way she smiled, Anis. Last night must have gone well. I'm confused. What happened last night? I'm going to get Rumpel to give me all the juicy details when he comes downstairs. That's Chevalier to you. Chevalier appears behind Karma, smiling. He seems a lot calmer today than usual. He glances over Karma at me, and we catch each other in a silent gaze. Seeing his eyes reminds me of last night, which makes me inadvertently flush. Chevalier just winks at me. Chevalier? What is that? Something you say when a person sneezes? I love Karma's one-liner sometimes. No, that's his name. Rumpel. That is, Chevalier broke his curse yesterday. There are stunned sighs from everyone in the immediate area. Even Delora walks over to us. What's this about a broken curse? Was it you, Rumpel? He's going by something that sounds like a fancy cake. Parfait seems to be bursting with excitement, but she is her usual calm self on the outside. I can tell by a bounce in her step and by the way she raises her voice to make an announcement that she is proud. When everyone has learned that Chevalier has broken his curse, people come to the table offering drinks and congratulations. Chevalier gets lost in the crowd, mostly of women, but much to my surprise, Chevalier does not flirt back with any of them. And then, in between our celebrations for Chevalier, the front door to the Martian opens, and Waltz rushes inside. Where are Delora and Lady Parfait? I need to speak to them immediately. Waltz, you're just in time, something has happened at the palace. The room goes quiet at Waltz's proclamation. A few people shift uneasily in their chairs. Some try to go back to conversation. Most people do not care what happens in the palace, but they can tell by the tone of Waltz's voice that it is bad. What's happened at the palace? An uprising. What? A coup, staged by witches. Witches have taken over the palace. The information is so sudden it makes me dizzy. I reach out to grab the table, my hand lands on the wood before I can slip. Witches have taken over the palace? An army of them? No, only a few. Jurgen strides across the room, followed quickly by Garland. What's this about witches taking over? We have some of the best knights at the palace. There is no way witches could break in under the palace's guard. I mean, a lot of them were discharged, unless they had someone inside helping them. Outcaster? No, Myth. Who are we talking about? You know him as Mifrose. He uses a different name now. Sir Mifrose, the king's advisor? He's a witch? There's no way Mifrose is a witch. We would have known. Glamour. He used a glamour. Everything Waltz says suddenly gets swallowed up in questions. Jerry and Garland ask question after question while others start surrounding Waltz to ask him what has happened to the king and his children. I try to step closer to listen, but I cannot hear over the frantic voices in the room. Sir Mifrose. I never trusted him, but I never thought he would be a witch. The room only quiets down when Delora and Parfait come to punctuate the conversation with their own demands for everyone to give Waltz space. The Martian boarders are all taken into the reception room, where Waltz stands at attention, waiting to answer questions. He explains that he was looking into a rumor about Sir Mifrose from only a few days ago when he found out about the witches' uprising. It was a surprise attack orchestrated by Mifrose, who let the witches in through a secret entrance to the palace. Alcaster was killed during the uprising. Many knights were injured and are currently being tended to in clinics and hospitals around the town. After his explanation, I feel even worse than I did in the main room. I stare at Waltz, at a loss. What of Fritz? Fritz? Sir Alcaster's son. Fitzgerald. He was my personal knight. If Sir Alcaster was killed during the uprising, where did that put Fritz? Was he working with Sir Alcaster, or with Sir Mifrose? Did he escape? I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't heard anything about a knight named Fitzgerald. Was he killed? The thought makes my heart plummet. No, Fritz could not possibly be dead. I have to believe that he is still alive. I feel Chevalier's hand on my shoulder, briefly, before it slides off. Are any of the king's knights remaining in the palace? If they are, then they've either been forced to turn against the king or they've been killed. Is Mifrose sitting on the throne? No, he usurped the king, but he hasn't taken his throne. Waltz turns to me and expression softens. Princess, feel free to ask me whatever you want. I'm sorry I didn't answer all your questions earlier. I have so many questions, but I suppose I'll ask them one at a time. Great. What has happened to the king and the others? I'm not sure. From what I've heard, the king and his family, your family, are still alive. I never cared for any of my step-family, but hearing that they are okay is still a relief. Mifrose may be keeping them prisoner for now. Was the glamour that Sir Mefros used? Dolores steps in to answer the question. A glamour is a high-level magic used to conceal one's identity. It keeps even other witches from sensing you. Parfait cast the same magic on you shortly after you came to the tavern. It is to protect you from the evil witches. A glamour can only be conjured by the powerful witches. It sounds as if this witch has been using glamour to hide himself from others. Do you know Mefros? It was a long time ago. They both shared the same teacher. Teacher? Wait. Waltz, are you a witch, yeah. He smiles at me, but is weak and does not reach his eyes. Myth was always very competitive. I thought that he had died at the end of the Great War, but he's been in the palace this whole time. His disguise is so simple. I should have realized his name was so similar, but... He couldn't have helped. That's what the glamour does to you. Maybe if I wasn't cursed, if I had more of my magic, I would have been able to sense him. Who has claimed the crown? As of right now, no one. The king's been kicked off of the throne, and Mefros has made a public announcement about usurping the throne, but he does not call himself king. Is he trying to win the throne over for someone? Myth has no one left. He was obsessed with our teacher, but she is gone. Maybe he has different alliances now? Parfait's eyes look distant as she stares dismally down at the ground. If my curse were broken, I would charge in right now and destroy him. Waltz's expression becomes so dark it sends a shiver through me. It isn't like Waltz to look so angry. We need to come up with a plan. Even if you weren't cursed, you would still not be able to defeat Mefros when he has other witches with him. Witches are trickier to handle. Can't just be plunged through with a sword, huh? I agree with Karma. If all of us go in with swords and shields, we should be able to take the palace back. This is what we've been practicing for. Practicing? Even witches will die if you stick a sword through their heart, won't they? But getting to a witch who knows you're there is difficult. I must do something. I want to help. Chevalier wraps his fingers around my wrist and frowns. Princess, this whole time I've been living at the Martian, I was spared the fate of the royal family by sheer coincidence because I was cursed. I cannot just sit here and do nothing when the kingdom falls to a witch. It fell to witches before and there were dire consequences. I cannot continue to be passive. I will not let myself be like Mother. Princess, I am the Cetriella Britain, the crown princess of Angiel, and I will not stand by and watch when the kingdom's in turmoil. The room goes quiet at my statements. Chevalier's fingers loosen on my hand. I can see a ghost of a smile on his face, though it underlies his sorrow. Spoken like a true princess. Whether or not you want to help Princess, you really can't. You won't be able to use magic until her 18th birthday. That's when you become the bearer. I cannot let that stop me. I will find a way. The conversations in the room continue for a long while. At some point it is said that volunteers are needed at the hospitals and clinics for the injured soldiers. Chevalier immediately volunteers. Only afterward does he look at me with regret. Princess, I'm sorry. For what? For putting my job before you, and after all I just said. He told me he was going to try his best to change. Bria called him selfless before for putting his work before her, but it would be a fool not to. My life is not in danger, and there are people who need you more than I do. Do what you do best, Chevalier. Princess Lucette. So that's where he was. I promise you I do whatever I can to help you as well. As the meeting disbands, I am left standing there in quiet. The last to leave is Waltz, who promises me that he will make things right. I'm going to trust everyone, but I'm also not going to stand idle. I'll make things right, somehow. As is my responsibility as Crown Princess. Chapter 9. The Witch Puppet. Alright. Alright, I think this is a good place to pause for now. Yes, because I do need to grab dinner. Alright, so I don't know when we're going to continue this next time. Sometime next week, probably, but yeah. Before that, tomorrow we have a stream with Nano again, and we will be playing try to guess the song. I forgot what we called it, what, guessing the song, or either way, we're going to try and guess songs, alright? But anyway, it will be at 9 p.m. for me anyway. And yeah, hopefully it should be fun. It should be fun. So hopefully you guys can make it. And thank you for breaking into my stream. So goodbye for now, until our next day break.